Internet, this episode is brought to you by the good folks at Bevel.
Ow.
Listen, Miss Lissa, you know what? We got a page now. GetBevel.com/Pete. Listen, Internet, I'm going to say that again. GetBevel.com/Pete. Head on over there. You get your first month free on your Bevel membership.
Ow, you're going to get the complete 90-day starter kit with a free Bevel razor and brush. It's an $80 value.
Listen, it's no lie that Bevel has... Listen, they took the culture by storm, the shaving culture by storm, the beard gang, everybody, even if you're just shaving a baldy, okay? Listen, bottom line is they help prevent razor bumps.
Get smoother, clearer skin in 4 weeks with the only system designed to reduce razor bumps and irritation. Don't be irritated.
That's right.
Get Bevel.
Come on, everybody get set, let's go. It's the next episode. It's the Premium Pete Show. News, interviews, all of the info. Listen up, it's the Premium Pete Show. If you want the scoop in the low, down low, listen to the show, cause Milk said so. Fuck what you heard, better act like you know. Miss Lissa knows. It's the Premium Pete Show.
Pull up in that monster, automobile gangster, with a bad bitch that came from Sri Lanka.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm in that Tonka, color of Willy Wonka. You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer. First thing first, I eat your brains.
Yep.
Then I'ma start rocking gold teeth and fangs. Cause that's what a motherfucking monster do. Hairdresser from Milan, that's the monster do.
Shit.
Monster to Juppy Hill, that's the monster crew. Young Money is the monster in the roster crew. And I'm all up in the bank with the funny face. And if I'm fake, I ain't know this cause my money, well, let me get this straight. Wait, I'm the rookie, but my features in my show 10 times your pay. $50K for a verse, no album out. Yeah, my money so tall that my Barbies gotta climb it. Hotter than the Middle Eastern climate. Find it. Turn them, wine, whine it. Nikki on them titties when I sign it. That's why these niggas so one-track minded. But really, I don't give a F-U-C cake. Forget Barbie. Fuck Nikki cause she's fake. She on a diet but her pockets eating cheesecake. And I say, the Chucky's a child's play. Just kill another career, it's some all day. Besides Jay, they can't stand besides me. I think me, you, and Am should menage Friday. Pink with thick ass, giving whiplash. I think we get that nigga that. That nigga what that's for. This is what you live for. Yo, niggas don't yell on tracks no more like that. What happened? Y'all just started mumbling. What happened?
No more mumbling over here.
Nah, because Nikki got me open with that twerk.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. I thought
she threw that around.
I honestly thought you were gonna come back and say you were gonna do some Beyonce shit.
Nah.
Because listen, the internet didn't miss you last week.
They did miss me?
No, they did miss you.
Oh, okay.
Some maybe didn't, but listen.
I mean, if y'all didn't, oh well. I missed y'all.
But people that did, listen. I thought you were gonna come out with some Beyonce.
Nah.
Listen.
That would be too cliche. You gotta expect the unexpected here at the Premium P Show. You can't just be like, oh, like, because she went to see Beyonce, she's gonna do Beyonce. Or, oh, because Run DMC gonna be on the show, she's probably gonna do Walk This Way. No, Walk That Way, my G. I'm going to keep you on your toes.
Well, listen, shouts to Nikki.
Shout out to Nikki. Shout out to that butt. She done pulled it out for the conference.
Oh, the title joint? She was, let me tell you something, man. When I seen that joint, I had to run in the bathroom real quick.
You felt like you was back in the pen and you looked at Word Up magazine?
That's what I thought it was, or a different type of magazine. I don't know what it was, But I'll tell you, it's good to have you back in the boot. Last week was a good episode.
No, it really was. I did listen to it.
Yeah. Listen, Scoob. You know what's so funny? When he did the drop at the end of the show, the way he did it was so dope. When I spoke to Troy, I was like, "Yo, make that an intro," because it was like, I liked the way he did it. He had so much. He just had like he was. Das Effects, man. They want
effects.
Yeah, man. It was
Das Effects. They want effects.
It was dope. I really liked that journey. You know what I mean? I thought it was dope.
Yeah, and how Mad of the new duos is copying off of them, and how they influenced so many people. That was dope.
Yeah, no, it was dope. And I think internet is something to learn. Beyonce. Queen Bey, Beyonce.
Yes.
No, not you. I'm talking about the real Beyonce.
Wait. Oh, her.
How was her concert?
Her concert was amazing. Even though my nose is bleeding, I had an amazing time.
You mean your nose?
I was so high up. I just told myself I was in the skybox. I was like, listen, bitch, there's somebody that ain't here.
Let me ask you
and you here, so appreciate.
When every time she sung, did you just picture she was saying, "Can we get much higher?"
Yo, forget that. I lost my voice. And because am the Beyonce fan that I am, I was turning up. Like, I had people around me like, yes, like, you. And I was like, yes, me. Follow me and listen to the show. Like, I was out there promoting.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, did you see Solange?
No, because I couldn't really see much.
But you know what?
It was fun.
But you know what? It was nice to be in the building, I'm sure.
No, it was amazing. And the crazy thing is because my mom and Rena, shout out to them, they surprised me on my birthday. And then when Beyonce had her throat issues and she postponed the show, that's the show that we went to. So
that was her finale of...
Yes.
Okay.
And we were a little black, so... AKA late. So we got there as Young M.A. was performing. So I'm kind of like rushing them. And my mom and I were ready to go to the seats downstairs because we knew we was going to get in. Like, I've never had a problem or an issue getting into a place or something that I wasn't invited to. But Rena, we love Rena. She's so honest. And she was just like, no, I don't want to do it. And we might miss the show and blah, 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 blah. So we didn't go. But we knew. I knew. If I would have just went, I would have got in, like, but I still had an amazing time, and I still could see, because of course they had the big TV screen.
Oh yeah, you look at the TV screen.
Yeah.
Well, shout to the TV
and
screen.
Beyonce fucking killed it. Like, she was singing upside down. Like,
yo, from where you were sitting, she probably had like a white girl ass, you know?
Shut up.
Okay.
She still had the cakes. And
Really?
Jay-Z came out, and you could...
Really?
Like, every time...
You sure that was Jay-Z?
It wasn't a hologram. It was him.
Oh, okay.
It was really Jay-Z. And I love when I see them together because that's when I feel like it's real. Like, they're always hiding everything. Well, not hiding, but keeping things for themselves. So when we do get to see them together... Even if it is, like, just for the show, I can still see that glow in her eyes, like that love that she has for her knuckle.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you think about Mary J. Blige's husband trying to get $129,000
now, all the time that he was loving you, and you was busy loving yourself. He was 11 years of sacrifice.
Yo, let me ask you something, honestly.
Poor Kendu. That's the name, Kendu. Now you can don't.
Nah, man, listen, I don't know what he has done. First of all, here's a couple of things. It's amazing to me that Mary didn't have, like, a prenup type, when you get married. I mean, here's the thing. When you're getting married to somebody that caliber, you should say, like, yo, no disrespect, but this is what I need to do. And I feel like if you're a person to understand, that should just be what it is. Anyway, to get that much, we don't really know what's what, but supposedly Mary, when you Google shit, she's worth like $10 million. But
right? I feel like he didn't get her to the $10 million, so he can't get all of that.
No, but if he wants $129 a month, $129,000 a month.
He could get $129.
I mean, shit.
He could have that.
$129.
That's a lot. She didn't even have no children from you. Yeah. Like, what do you have her taking care of? Your children? Your goddamn... what do you want from her?
We need to find out more.
It's not like child support.
How long are they married?
11 years of sacrifice.
No. That's just a song. But if they're married a certain amount of time... Here's the thing I'm saying. If he contributed to her in ways we don't know, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he deserves some stuff. But not... I mean, I don't know how you could justify $129,000 spousal fee a month. I mean, shit, man. I don't know. As a man, I don't know, man. I'm like, maybe you keep that, But if there's certain things that he's deserved of.
I mean, I feel like it's okay to ask for something, like even like Safari with Nicki Minaj. Like, I feel like he definitely held her down and helped her to get to where she was. So he is deserving of something. And the same thing goes for Kendu. He definitely assisted her in elevating to where she is, but she wasn't like some straggler fucking singing in front of the Five and Dime at Staten Island, wherever she's from, Yonkers. She wasn't at the fucking Piggly Wiggly fucking singing when you found her. She was already Mary J. Blige.
This is fucking Mary J. Blige.
So she still should get something, but I also feel like if you was a good businessman and manager, you should have already gotten some money, like your 20% or 18% or whatever percent you get of her income. You should be okay. Like, be a man.
Yeah, but a man, honestly, the only thing he gets when a girl breaks up with him is breakup pussy. Not $129,000.
They was married for 12 years.
That's a long time. So you know what? Maybe you don't know what he's done. I mean, I don't know. I just can't justify it, man. But, anyway. I mean, listen, no more drama, But you know one thing I really did enjoy that I did, you know?
He's saying that Mary got him used to the lavish lifestyle, and that's why he wants this
now
money.
you got to go back
What?
to... Listen.
It's back to ramen, brother.
That's right.
I hope you know what to do with SpaghettiOs.
Speaking of ramen, I hosted Prodigy's cookbook. In Philadelphia. Shout out to my man Feet Heat and Chris from Suplex. We had the Prodigy Commissary Kitchen, infamous prison cookbook, book signing and Q&A at their shop. It was dope. P was there. A lot of hip hop heads came out. And, you know, we had like a Q&A. We went over the book. He you know, people who took pictures with him and, he, you know, bought the book.
No, but I'm going to stop you real quick because I thought you got me feeling like we Elliot Wilson and B-Dot, my nigga. Like,
what happened?
I feel like I just found out you was having a seed from Jay-Z, dude. Like,
No.
I didn't even know you were doing this until Instagram told me. Like, we would have came out and supported you. Chris, did you know about this?
Well, I want to... No, he didn't know.
Isaiah, you knew about this?
No.
This man is doing secret movements. Like, damn.
No, you know what?
Elliot?
You know what? That is my bad, and I want to explain to you because, first of all, I forgot all about it. I waited mad late to post it. I just got caught up in a lot of things I was doing. They asked me a minute ago, and you know, I put it together for them out in Philadelphia. But, you know, I didn't, my bad. It wasn't a good communication skill on me. And actually, it's funny, too, because Internet's Preacher Pete's going to come out right now, right off the bat, okay? Communication is key. Man, when you don't have no communication, that fucks things up. So, you know, you have to admit when you're wrong, too. So I wasn't good on the communication on that. But anyway, it was a great time.
That's good.
And you know, it's good to see P turn, like, you know, his prison problems. You know, think about when you go away, you don't ever think about coming home and making a book about going away, right? You know? So, you know, just to see that and see, you know, it's funny because, you know, he's actually speaking at a lot of colleges, too, with that cookbook. You know why? Because colleges can relate to the same type of prison cooking standards.
Right.
Microwave. You know, that's all the prison have, like a microwave and a toaster. So, you know, a lot of colleges live that dorm life, that struggle life, that simple meal. You know, how do you make, like, a great sweet potato pie in a toaster oven, you know? And
that's really dope, actually.
Yeah, no, it's dope.
I know how to hook up some ramen. I ain't even going to hold y'all up. Like, I will have it looking like gourmet.
I mean, listen, you got to see the recipes. I'll get you a book. The recipes.
Yeah, get me one.
The recipes in this thing, like, you know, he has peas pot stickers. You know, like he has his special macaroni salad with apples, you know.
Apparoni salad?
I mean, could be. It was dope. I had a good time. You know, I tell you, I've been running around keeping busy, man. I didn't even talk about this, too. Actually, I finally got a chance to sit down with Colloginal.
Word?
Did I tell you about that?
I knew that you knew him, but I didn't know that you was going to have a sit-down.
Yeah, I finally had a sit-down with him, and I met him up in Yonkers. And, you know, I hope to have him on soon. I'm going to do some things with him as far as, like, you know, I think there's some possibilities to do some work with him. But I sat down.
Don't be breaking into nothing now. Just make sure that everything...
Nah, I sat down with him. And
this is different being respected and feared.
Yeah, shit, you got that right. But you know what's so funny? I sat down with him, and you know what the first thing he told me? He was like, yo, you're the real-life Colloginal.
I told you that, too, when I met you.
But that's funny coming from him.
From him, yeah.
And, you know, he just explained to me about some of his, you know, shortcomings and the things he's been through and, you know, being home from prison and, you know, facing, you know, everything he's facing, you know. So he's home a couple of years trying to, you know, stay afloat and do what he got to do. So, you know, but it's good. It's good to really, you know, see that and mess with him and be able to build with him. It's funny. I tell you, the Internet's an amazing thing. That's why I always say the Internet is a gift and a curse. Sometimes you'll be meeting some crazy people, and sometimes you'll find yourself in places that you never ever thought you'd be. You know, just from the Internet, I mean, think about it. Internet's listening right now. You met someone through the Internet that, you know, you may be cool with now that you talk to all the time, or just even once in a while, or you do this with, or did this with, or made money with. You know,
that's true.
Internet's a gift and a curse, but I'll tell you, when it's a gift, it's really an amazing gift. You know,
that's like this lady. Her name is Stacey J. Johnson. Shout out to you. So
who's that?
She is. Okay, so she's an actress, but then she also was the entertainment guru for the mayor's office in Atlanta, and then she started being a personality on B103, and now she's on a reality show. So I like, I guess maybe like Instagram suggested her, or somehow, I don't know. Last year I ended up on her Instagram page and I'm like, this lady is lit. Like she reminded me so much of myself. Like she was just having a party when she was doing her radio show. And I just wrote, how come I don't know you in real life? And she just wrote back, LOL. So flash a year later, I connect with Daytwan Thomas and Vibe Magazine, and I did something with them when I did a live interview with her. And I was like, we felt like we was like sisters. Like, I was like, this is too poppin'. And I learned a lot of things from my girls, ladies. So she has a book called 143 Reasons to Date Multiple Men.
Really?
Oh my
God.
God. I needed this because I don't know how to do this. You guys know I'm America's favorite dry box. So
slide up in them DMs.
No,
internet.
please don't do it. Don't do it.
Slide up in
them. So
Send them dick
basically,
pics.
to all the ladies listening, you have to date 3 to get your 1. And there's nothing wrong with. She was just saying how the biggest or the most precious gift a woman can give to a man is monogamy. And we're out here giving these benefits to men that don't deserve them, girl. So you gotta date 3 to find your 1. And the ticket to this is honesty. Don't hide this. You let that man know that you are dating. Dating does not mean fucking. Let's clarify that right now.
Well, let me tell you something. Hold on. What about the guys? What about the guys?
No, y'all been doing this. This is not new to you. That's the whole thing.
That's not
Men
fair.
have been doing whatever they
y'all
want
don't
to do.
know.
But
It don't hurt you.
They want you to hold them down and be loyal. But then in the same breath, they like, but I'm not ready for a relationship. But I gotta get I gotta get myself together. I'm not looking for nothing serious. But you better not be with nobody. Like, no, and no. Stop giving full-time benefits to part-time knockers.
Yeah, but stop holding out on the box for fucking 6 months. And
Listen,
then when you finally get the box.
I even asked her about that. There's no time frame for giving up the box. You could go with the flow, but you don't have to give up the box, and you don't have to not.
Yeah, but you're the worst person to give advice to on giving up the box.
Why?
Because you got a fucking keypad lock, a fucking one of those one that you turn to 30, 25,
But don't
16.
worry, this lock used to be a little loose.
Oh, really?
Every girl has their home-ins.
Really?
So, yes, I had home-ins.
What would make a girl want to have home-ins? Is it being depressed? Is it being discouraged?
Okay, the same way males and men and guys like to have sex, so do girls. So it's just like because of the stigmas and the things that are attached to, we are taught that we're supposed to hold out and do these things, so you feel some kind of way. But naturally, sex feels good, and just like a man likes to have sex, so does a girl. And even if you're in a serious relationship, just like a man likes new products, so does a girl. It's just that it's just so many things attached to doing that. So home-ins happen because you're a human being, and it's okay. But I'm a strong believer that home-ins should just be that. Like, it should just be a home-in. Like, you ain't gotta run. And maybe your home-in was your whole teenage years, but you gotta give that up at some point. Like, you cannot move forward into your 20s if you was already doing that. Or maybe you was abstinent, or you was doing great in your teenage years and your home started in your 20s, but you have to give it up in your 30s. Maybe you're a prude and your home-ins happen sporadically. Maybe you just got real drunk and fucked your best friend's boyfriend. Listen, that was okay. Delete it and move forward. Learn from it and leave it.
Me as a man, I feel like the best pussy is the one you love, but also the best pussy is new pussy.
Right. That's the best one.
So do you feel that the best dick is new dick?
No. I feel like for a girl, the best dick is the dick that you are in love with, because it is it's for everyone, sex is like maybe, let's say 80% physical, 80% mental and 20% physical. It's more about the mental connection. But for a guy, you humping and pumping, and it's all about that new hoe. But for a girl, I feel like the best sex is really that guy who just like genuinely loves you and like genuinely cares about you, and you feel that care. And I feel like that's when you let go. But there's also great home-ins with the fast pumping new nigga, like that you just, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that don't mean you gotta get on Instagram and throw all the emojis under his picture now, or now you gotta be in your feelings. And that's why I feel like it gets like a little confusing with all these new technology and gizmos and gadgets. But I feel like at the end of the day, yes, monogamy is fun, but so is the other stuff. So have your balance. Tupac said, I get around, but then he also did great songs like Dear Mama. Like, nobody is one-sided. But you ain't got to share that with everybody.
Yeah, but that just
That's
means
when it becomes
that
a
he was fucking, and he also loves his mother. There's nothing wrong with that. Right, I love you, Ma.
Dear Mama was more about just loving women. It was just like, every woman is going to be a mother or has. Is it just Dear Mama was bigger than just his mother?
Sure,
yes,
sure.
It was a tribute to his mom,
but
it was about his
volumes.
love for the woman, especially the black one. Al, shout out to my melanin magic mavens. That's going to be a new website, dating site. Are you looking for that melanin magic on a maven?
Are you done relationship, Lissa?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I will say this. There are many moments for many people. But I will say this. I think if you're young and you're single, enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Get all that fucking out of you.
Because there's nothing worse than being old and feeling like, damn, like, your pussy's still tight, but you got cobwebs now, they ain't nobody hit it right. You've just been holding out the whole time. Have a moment now and then, it's okay.
I always tell people.
As long as you're not married.
First of all, people used to ask me, because keep in mind, I was married when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then got divorced very early on. So I was single, and never got into another relationship for over 10 plus years. So people always ask me, how did you get involved again, and et cetera. And here's the thing: when you try too hard, that shit don't happen.
Right.
But I'm gonna give you an example. You need to be open and willing to be loved. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Sometimes I've been loved before, but I didn't want it. I didn't want love. I didn't want it.
What did you want?
I just
wanted to be.
Nah, but here's the thing too. I just didn't want. There's times where first of all, you got to mesh well with the person. You got to vibe with the person. I'm just not a person I'm not one of those, humping people. Like, I can never, I know dudes that I talk to a girl and you want to have, I can never have a sex with a girl who's doesn't really want to have sex but is willing to because you want it. I can never do that. I never did. Throughout my whole life, I had girls I'm like, well, can I, you don't want to have sex? And she'd be like, all right, if you want it. I mean, I'm not really in the mood. I could never get up in there and start wailing away while she's like, not in the mood. I'm a vibe person.
Right.
So,
it's that mental.
Having said that, yeah, most definitely. Having said that, I just think that if you've been out of relationship, if anybody listening has been divorced before, I say hold your head, get yourself a good support group, get yourself a girl that you could vibe with. Don't worry about fucking and pussy. Worry about somebody that you could hang with. I give you an example, and if you want me to give you a dirty example, I'll give you a dirty example. If you could hang with somebody after you come and talk to them and build with them and vibe with them, that's a girl that you should try to get to know more. If you after you come and then you're like, damn, man, I need to get the fuck up out of here, then that's a different story. But I also say you got to also be willing to be loved, right? A long time, how many times I told you, remember when I told you Nat bought all these candles, and when I opened the door, I said, what are you doing? There's too many candles in here. Instead of enjoying the moment, you got to be willing to be loved.
That is true.
You got to be willing to be loved. You can't only, first of all, love yourself, but also be able to get loved. And if you ain't ready to get loved, then just fuck around till you find a stick and move. Be a boxer. But internets, listen, I'm excited. We're going to come back from this break.
I'm so excited.
We're going to come back from this break.
This is the beginning step of you fixing what you need to fix in your heart. It is.
This is not.
It's going to be therapy session. This ain't no tutorial. This is therapy.
This is a tutorial.
This is therapy.
Internet, we're coming back with the official burr, Mr. Chris Morrow, which they actually call the Podfather. I can't believe they do this now. But anyway, Internet, you listen to the Premium P Show with Miss Lissa Knows.
Ow.
Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Cheer.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Bobby V. You already know you listening to the Premium P Show with Miss Lissa Knows and your boy Bobby V. Blue Collar Dreams. You know the business. Beyond
Internets, and we're back. I'm telling you, I'm pretty excited for who we have sitting with us. The reason why I made the word burr, okay, was first for DJ Ben Hameen. And then the other person I made it for is Mr. Chris Morrow, who the internet's, the podcast world, Elise is calling, as Lissa says, the Podfather.
That's the Podfather.
And it's funny for me, right, without even an introduction. We'll go over the introduction. But it's funny for me to even, I guess, call you the Podfather. And the reason why is, just so I let the internet know, is when we met, and we'll get into the journey, but when we met, me and Chris, Combat reached out to on the internet, I believe, because what happened was we were transitioning from PNC Radio. We basically had no way to tape. So little does I'm going to give a fact for some people who may not know, but and this is a fact. If it probably wasn't for Chris at that time, the Combat Jack show probably wouldn't have had a place to tape. We would probably took about a couple of months off.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, and so we were able to stay afloat and stay alive because the internet just, why don't you explain even what happened on that?
Well, I mean, it's getting long enough now that even my memory's a little fuzzy, but how I remember it is Reggie put out on Twitter, like, I'm trying to do this thing. I don't know anything about radio. Someone who knows what they're doing, help me. Like something to that effect. And I was producing the Breakfast Club syndicated show at that time.
Oh, look at him. You see,
he's working and dropping the accolades.
First of all, internet.
This is just the start.
First of all, internet. Mr. Chris Morrow is wearing a fucking suit.
Yes.
Okay, with floor chimes. Okay, or Johnny Walker's, whatever he's wearing.
This whole outfit is courtesy of my man who used to work at J. Cole and before.
Okay.
J. Cole, J. Crew.
J. Crew.
Oh, I'm saying, I didn't even know he had a line.
So go ahead. So
anyway, Reggie put that out there. I've been listening to the show as a fan, truthfully, and I hit him up. We got coffee at that place, Gorilla Coffee.
Yes.
Turns out I used to play basketball with his cousins. I knew some of the same people that he knew. Yeah, Fritz.
You weren't Chris Dudley.
I was not Chris Dudley.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
One thing led to another. I started helping out in whatever capacity. Then Reggie told me, they say that they're going to be rebuilding this studio.
Yeah, the PNC studio.
At PNC. And I said, well, how long is it going to take? And he said, well, they're telling me 3 weeks. And I was like,
It took 3 months.
Well, I was like, if they tell you the studio rebuild is going to be 3 weeks, it's 3 months minimum. It's probably 6 months, whatever it turned out being. So, we made a deal. I just like what you guys were doing, and I just wanted to be part of the energy. And we started, I guess I can talk about it now, but like we basically started sneaking everybody into the studios that I had access to. And, I think it was like a nice shot of energy at the time because it went from, no disrespect to PNC, but like that was something they were holding together with like masking tape and tinfoil and all that sort of shit.
I
And
like the way he said no disrespect and then he said the masking tape and tinfoil. But you know what?
But
that wasn't, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
For the internets that know, that was when the Combat Jack show started to sound the best that it ever was. The quality was 10 times better. The studio, like, that was the first time all of us as a team really were like, this is fucking beautiful.
Well, I don't want to say exactly whose studio it was still, but, like, suffice to say, it's like, it was the best. Like, there wasn't a better studio out there. And, Dwayne's the best.
Mellow.
Yeah, he's the best. So it went from kind of like a garage-ish sort of situation to, like, you're working with the best guys, you got the best equipment. So it was a lot of fun.
But it's funny because the question I'm going to ask you, this is going to come up a couple of times because at that time, what was even, what was your goal? Like, because here's the thing, at that time, what could you have really been doing except for just trying to like help out something, and you saw something in it and believed in it. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't picture where you would be today from that.
Well, here's the honest truth. Like when I started, I just had kids. I was in my late 30s, maybe early 40s, but I was still working like very kind of popish terrestrial radio for my radio stuff.
Yeah, you're working with Clear Channel.
Yeah, I'm a writer by trade and by interest, but I was working in radio, and like I'm not gonna lie, like I listened to a little bit, but like I didn't really feel particularly passionate about it because truthfully I was too old, And then
talk about radio.
Yeah, and it's not meant for me right now. So I remember specifically listening to a Combat Jack episode, R.I.P. I think it was Sean Price, and who was she? It was another rapper. I'm blanking on her name right now. But anyway.
Her woman?
Yeah.
Oh, Rod Digger?
Rod Digger, exactly. Yeah. And they were talking about raising their kids, and they were, he was talking about smoking weed around his son, or she was talking about her daughters, just like, I was like, oh, okay, this...
It's something I can relate to.
This I can relate to because this speaks to where I am in my life right now a lot more than the other stuff where, I don't want to say I was fake, but, like I just didn't feel that connection. So that kind of excited me to a degree. Like, like I didn't have any expectations of where the stuff might go. But, once we got in it for just to backtrack a little bit, I can remember talking to Reggie and being like, because at the time it was like, this is an internet radio show.
Sure.
And I was like, you don't want to be an internet radio show. You want to be a podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast is where it's at. And
Sure.
I only really knew about podcasts as a fan, again. Like, I didn't have any experience with it.
But I do remember you telling me when we were in premiere, I remember you telling me that something about, like, your brother-in-law, that you had, like, an idea, like, to make, like, a network.
Yeah.
Something like your brother-in-law, I don't know what you were able to, your brother-in-law, what does your brother-in-law do? He's like a big shot or something like that?
He, at the time, he's built and started and sold a lot of internet companies. At the time, he was like a pretty big deal at Google. He's at TripAdvisor right now. He left.
Yeah.
But
and you were trying to get like something to show. I remember.
Well, I remember sitting at Ben Amin's house, and we were having a meeting about the Combat Jack show, and everyone's smoking blunts and drinking and arguing over whatever little shit we were trying to do. And I was like, listen, you guys can fight over this shit. This is bigger than a show.
Yeah.
This is a network. There should be 10 shows. There should be 15 shows. And, that was how we started Sneaker Fiends. That's how we started Reality Check, which was NY Delight.
And Jazz Fly.
That's, I don't remember like an aha moment where it was like, oh, this should be bigger than just one show. But I think what's happened is once I got into the space and everyone started really thinking of it as a podcast as opposed to a internet radio show, because my whole thing was like, people see internet radio shows as something for people who can't get on real radio. Okay?
Like it's a fugazi.
Like, if you're doing an internet radio show, you would be on the radio.
Yeah.
But you're not.
Except for Sirius, right?
Nah,
or you still feel like that about them too?
Yeah, I got mixed feelings about Sirius. But like, a podcast, people do podcasts because they want to do podcasts. So I was like, stop hustling backwards. Stop saying we're an internet radio show that's hoping it's going to get on the radio versus, hey, we're a podcast and this is what we do. And then the other part of it was, no disrespect, you guys aren't getting on the radio anytime anyway because that's not who you guys are. You're not polished like that. People who are on terrestrial radio have been doing it since they were 17 years old and they know how to hit spots and they know how to talk. Like, that's not what the Combat Jack show was. Yeah. It was raw. Still is raw. So it's like, to me, it was always like, embrace what you guys are, which is this new form instead of trying to fit into like another box.
Right. Have you ever wanted to be a media personality?
Well, I mean, I'm a writer, so.
Right. But have you ever wanted to get on a mic, crack a mic, have a show? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I've toyed with the idea. I mean, when I do writing, I'm like what you would call a celebrity ghostwriter. So
right. Well, you wrote a lot for Russell Simmons.
Yeah.
Well, not really, because it is out there. I mean, you wrote 5 books, I think.
Yeah,
right? You wrote 5 books, is that correct?
I think more, but yeah.
But we wrote 5 books. For people who are listening that may know, 3 of them were for Russell.
Yeah.
1 was for Tyrese.
Tyrese and Rev Run.
Yeah. And what was the other one? One was for Tyrese by himself?
I did one with Rev Run and his wife.
Okay, Rev Run and his wife.
I did one with LeBron James's high school coach.
Okay.
Drew Joyce. I think I did a book on reggae, which was the first book I wrote. I wrote that one by myself. So
when you collaborate with these people, does that mean that they basically kind of just give you a couple of ideas and you really write the whole book and just put their name on it with it?
I mean, it varies. I mean, and I did one with, and I was fired from this, but I'm allowed to talk about it now. I was
drop it.
Ivanka Trump's ghostwriter.
Really?
Yeah.
You wrote that speech and she stole? You taught her?
No, I didn't write that.
You probably would have wrote a way better speech than the one she stole.
What does Ivanka Trump smell like perfume-wise?
She wouldn't let me close enough to really get she was...
I would have been sniffing.
She wasn't excited to spend a lot of time in my presence, I got to be honest.
Hey, I would have grabbed her by the pussy.
Why? What do you think it was?
I think, she saw me kind of as like something she had to put up with. Like, like maybe a servant is too harsh, but like...
You were the help.
I was definitely the help, yeah.
So, wait, did you get along with Donald?
No, actually, the reason they fired me is because they said I didn't show him enough respect.
Oh.
Yeah.
How dare you,
You're just going to let his wig tilt. You didn't even fix it.
He's not the nicest guy, and I spoke on that. And
he didn't want to make books great again.
Nah, he doesn't... He was rude to a lot of people, and I kind of said something, and you're not supposed to say something. And...
Was he rude to a certain type of person, or just like everybody, and you was just like, hey, I'm not the one?
No,
or
he was
like,
never...
hey, were you protecting someone?
No, he was never rude to me. I just saw him in action, and I was kind of like,
You don't talk to black people like that.
No, it was actually
Donald.
He was a white guy. But it was a guy who was clearly, from all I can tell, I didn't know the guy personally. He seemed like a very competent, like professional, smart, and he just beat him down and abused him verbally. And I kind of like threw my arms up. I was just supposed to be a fly on the wall, watching to collect information for this book, and I kind of just threw my arms up, like, what the fuck? And then they were like, you can't, like...
but they probably want you just to shut up.
They were like, yo, you can't... I think I laughed, and they were like, you can't laugh at him. And I was like, but it was like a skit. And they were like, nah, like... So she told me, she's like, I need to talk to you. And they brought me into her office, and she said, I think you don't respect my father. And I was like, well...
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Listen, internets, go out and vote. And vote for Hillary, so, we don't have to deal with this type of fucking bullshit. Yeah. Because I'll be honest with you, if this mistake happens, we're in trouble.
Yeah, listen, as a former semi-employee of the Trump organization, if there's anyone out there who's on the fence, get off the fence. You don't want this guy as your president.
Even if you don't like Hillary that much,
exactly.
Vote for Hillary. Because
to all my relatives, if they're listening to this, who might be voting for Trump, don't do it.
Yeah,
I've told you that privately. I'll tell you that publicly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you know what I want to go back to. So internets that know or may not know, Mr. Chris Morrow, okay, an author. Also, as we spoke, someone who actually we didn't even get to that part where we speak about building the podcast. We spoke about bringing in a Combat Jack show. I want to start talking about the network, but I want to explain how funny things that I think. It's funny how, like, when I look at, like, for instance, saying the Podfather. It's funny for me to look at that because I remember being there, being a premiere, and even, like, when we actually, listen, we had people give us names for, the network. And, obviously, I used to always make fun because, like, Combat and him, like, you would go in another room and they're like, oh, we're in here busy. I'm like, oh, shit, new Illuminati. They're up to this Illuminati shit. But haven't making those jokes, and it is what it is. But at the same time, as time passed, I couldn't deny the fact that what you did was put the pedal to the metal, and even though Reggie is or Combat, as people know, is co-founder with you in this Loudspeakers Network, I do feel, and no disrespect to him, even though I really don't, I'm not going to send him a Christmas gift this year, but the point I'm making is I feel like you did a lot, I don't want to say more, but you did a lot of work. You did, and I saw that. The reason I say that for is, so I remember being in PNC. Not PNC, Premiere, and being Premiere. And we did do the Sneaker Fiends with me and Dallas. That didn't work out. And then there was also Reality Check. But then I remember you talking about bringing this Kid Fury in.
Yep.
And I'll never forget when they used to tape, like, maybe Mello, who was an engineer there, maybe he was doing something with them, and we were waiting for Mello. And literally, out of my mouth, and Combat's, like, not really like that, but, like, laughing, we're like, why the fuck are we waiting for Mello? These people are here because of us.
Right.
That's how, like, literally I thought, and how stupid I was. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, I was like, yo, we're the flagship show. You know what I mean? Like, we're the reason... Like, if we think about it, the Combat Jack Show is the reason there's a Loudspeakers Network.
Right.
If you think about it, all of us,
That's true.
No, I know it's true, but what I'm trying to say is to see the success of what these people have become. Like, I remember when I met Kid Fury and Crystals when they came in, when you guys were talking about doing a podcast.
Yep.
And we spoke about, what the description would be, a gay guy or, da 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 da.
Not da 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 da.
No, I didn't see what it could be. But the point I'm trying to make is to see where they took it.
No, yeah. That's actually how I found out that Combat had a network. And I remember, like, going to A-King, like, word, my nigga, like, I had to find this out from some new person. Like, I was at, like, Blockheads or some shit, like, and I had met Kid Fury. And he's like, yeah, we just started this new show on Combat Jazz Network. And I was on PNC, and this was during the hiatus. And I was like, his network? Like, what the hell?
Well, first of all, Chris, and before you even get to your question, Chris and Combat, I mean, I gotta love one for more than the other, but
we know.
But they're very secretive. So,
we know.
So don't be upset. That's how.
Don't worry.
Let me address that because that always has been the perception, like, oh, what do you guys used to call us, Funky Berg and Jenkins or some shit like that?
Yeah. Well, that was the new law firm.
That was the new law firm.
Funky Berg was Reggie and you were Jenkins.
Yeah, we're going into these secret rooms for our Illuminati meeting. I mean, a lot of it is we don't know what the fuck, or speaking for myself, I don't know what the fuck is going on half the time, because it was uncharted territory in a lot of ways, right? Like,
it was one show.
I know, starting a podcast network. Well, what the fuck is a podcast network? How do we do this? And I think we did a lot of it very transparently, for better or for worse. And I think that's, when you're doing something that way, it can get frustrating if you feel like you're not on the inside, because, well, what are these guys talking about behind the cold? Or, how does he have a network and I didn't find out about it? Or like, but it was evolving every single day. It was moved. There were 1,000 moving pieces, and like, we just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, that's really the truth. So you can look at a situation and say, all right, well, these guys are trying to be secretive, but like,
you got to be slithery in this.
It's not even slithery, but like sometimes, slithery. Well, it's not even that. I like to be like, if I say something, I like it to actually happen.
Are you an Aries?
No, I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay.
Oh my God,
Lord,
I didn't even know he's a Sagittarius.
Oh Lord, Jesus, Lord.
No, but even with that, I remember when, like, me and Dallas particularly. I mean, I'm not talking for another man, but me and Dallas used to laugh, like, when we would try to walk into another room, not knowing, they're like, oh, okay, we're in here, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? But you
gotta remember, we don't have office space. We don't, like, if we're gonna sit down and have, like, because decisions had to be made. Like,
no, I know that.
And it's like, where else are you going to do it? You're going to do it in this.
He just wanted a warning.
No,
he wanted you to be like,
hey,
we're in this room having a meeting. Like, he didn't want to walk in and feel like he was not a part of the plan or not knowing of what was going on. He felt like, what the fuck?
Of course, that was the feeling.
I got you, Pete. I got you.
Thank you.
Especially because he kind of felt like you guys built this on his blood, sweat, and tears, on his back.
Not only me. There was
on their back.
There
was a whole crew of them that was mad at y'all. So they felt like, damn, like, we don't even know what's going on, but here we are giving our time, and we also, if it wasn't for the Combat Jack show, which started somewhere else, there would be no this.
Right.
So how come we don't know what's going on?
Rolling. We got the ball rolling.
Right. So they feel like, how come we don't know when y'all going to pass it, or we don't know when y'all going to shoot?
Yeah, but we didn't know.
Right. No, I'm playing.
Even on that
advocate.
On that subject, even though later on, I mean, it's all love. I mean, me and Chris have had a back and forth relationship. I think the only times I was mad at him was probably because he didn't communicate well, and he probably felt he didn't need to, and Reggie didn't care because he was getting put on. He's like, well, Reggie's like kind of like, hey, I'll give an example of Reggie for people who want to know. One time we were at the studio, and there was this guy that came here, and he was wearing like this wild, like, I don't know, like a dress type thing, and I was like, and I turned to Reggie, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is that guy wearing? He's like, yo, shut up, man. He's friends with Serena Williams. I'm trying to go out to eat the lunch with him. And I was like, fuck out of here. Dude's wearing a dress.
But you know what? Truthfully, a lot of that came from me.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the, like, all right, we got to try to make this semi-legit came from me. And here's the thing. It's like, we had this thing that was like very organic, very from the ground up, like 100% real. But when, that's fun for a while. But then after people have been doing it for 6 months, 7 months, a year, what have you, people start saying, all right, well, this was cool, but what's the next step?
Right.
When are we going to start getting paid? When is this going to happen? And like, if that's the transition you got to make, then yeah, like, you can't say some of the shit that was being said, or you can't just like. It was rock and roll for a long time.
Right.
Like, so to me, I think even more so than Reggie, I was always like, you got to edit that. You can't say, like, which isn't really who I am. Like, I'm actually more into the raw shit.
Yeah.
But I knew that, like, if we're going to eventually make this transition, I'm not saying it has to become terrestrial radio, but like at some point there has to be some sort of
sponsors and people to get involved. You can't do insane things.
But that Serena Williams thing was off the air. That was like the
but he was already starting to move a certain way, like
like maybe he wanted
stepping into it.
Yeah, like some dude's there and that it's anyway. You get the idea. Like
but here's the thing. Finishing that part. And you admitted too, communication is like, before we started this episode, we were speaking about communication is key. And you admitted times where there wasn't always good communication, like
true.
between everybody. Like, keep in mind, like Ben Hameen, a Dallas Penn, a Matt Raz, and me, and A. King, like, most of us didn't know what was going on. And when the network did go up, and not that now, everybody's in a space, and God bless, I'm not even mad, but there was times for a long time, like, you tap Matt Raz to come with you and do some things.
Yep.
Internet, just so you know, Chris Morrow is not the worst handshaker in the world.
Now you changing it?
Matt
Raz
Raz is.
him.
No, Matt Raz is.
Greasy hand?
No, he's Slither.
It's with the juiciness. Like, rub that out. Let me see.
No, he's
all right.
But anyway, I think a lot of us were like, well, particularly I speak for me, but kind of like. The network got started. It got rolling.
Yep.
You started to do a lot, and we'll get into the real logistics of it. But you did a lot of great stuff with it.
Yep.
And none of us ever one time we got this check from LSN. I'll never forget. Reggie comes out. He hands us a check.
Some things
hold
out
on. Reggie comes out and he gives us a check. Right.
Yeah.
I open the check. On the check it says Loudspeakers Network. I was like, holy shit! They got their own check. You know how much that shit said? $29. I look at Dallas Penn. Hold up. I look at Dallas Penn. He says $29. He's like, yo, let's get the fuck up out of here. So we want to, as we're going home.
Checks for $29.
As we're going home, check this out. A. King, we start talking, and I say, A. King, man. This shit is disrespectful. We got a $29 check. He said, 29? I got 18.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
And I
All
was
I got was $17.45.
And you know what?
But that's what it is when you're starting.
No. But keep in mind.
Oh my God.
Keep in mind. And you got to admit, and maybe this is questions for Reggie, but keep in mind.
No, this is a question for
this is a question
Podfather.
for him too. Keep in mind.
Yeah.
As time went on.
Yeah.
None of that Combat Jack show, the flagship show, supposedly, right, even when you've seen success, got tapped to do any work.
What do you mean?
Like, besides Matt Raz. And Matt Raz is the one who told Combat the show sucked and it wouldn't last long. And Reggie held on to that forever. And all of a sudden now he's fucking working for him. The point I'm trying to make is...
Because you got to hustle until your enemies need jobs,
but what I'm trying to say is no one... from the Combat Jack show got put on, meaning where there was room to make money. Meaning
money over
I used to tell...
Pete.
Hold on, let him do it.
Here,
go ahead.
Okay, we're talking about recently.
This is revisionist history, man.
Okay, go ahead.
All right? I mean, plenty of people got opportunities. Some opportunities work out, some opportunities don't work out. But
how come y'all didn't give Pete a job? He needed.
I gave Pete a job.
That's what it sounded like.
No.
He's
That
in
was
his
at
box.
that was at the end.
He's not in his bag. He in his box.
I'm talking about.
You need to know
when it started getting running and people were moving and grooving and making money. Nobody really got tapped.
But they didn't get
tapped. What did you want to get tapped for that you didn't get tapped for?
But here's the thing.
Tell me. What did you get?
It's not only me. I'm speaking about me. I would like to see A. King get a position.
Don't talk about A. You don't know when he's getting tapped. A. King might be getting tapped. What was your plight?
No. But what I'm saying is, if I'm doing that right here, I'll give you an example.
That's when A. King in. That's when we're like ding dong.
If I'm think about it, right? If you're saying that the Combat Jack show was a flagship show, right?
Right.
And it was built off of that, the people involved in it just were because you know what it is. You didn't deal with the Combat Jack show at all after that.
That's true.
You went on and you left Reggie alone. You don't interfere with that, and I understand.
Right.
You were running the network.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, if his plan was not to really take care of anyone from the team, right? Why wouldn't there be any open spots for LSN? You understand what I'm trying to say? Nobody, you don't understand what I'm saying?
I don't want to go through the list of everybody who's done everything, but there have been opportunities for everybody.
Okay. Before I left with Reggie,
yeah,
there was never no opportunity for me as far as for LSN.
How so?
How? I'm asking you. How? There was never...
Well, let's see. We gave you a podcast.
They sent you to Vegas to talk to the people.
No.
Before we sent them to Vegas.
Okay,
we gave
I
you
know
a podcast.
informations.
Oh, wait. You want to go back to Sneaker Fiends?
Okay, but did we not build a podcast that you were the co-host of?
Yeah, and then you also ended it.
No, I didn't end it.
Okay.
Who ended it?
This is revisionist history.
Who ended it?
I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Okay.
We ran out of studio space. And there were 2 podcasts that wanted that studio. One was Fan Bros that had just started, and one was Sneaker Fiends that had been around a little bit longer.
With me and Dallas Penn.
Dallas
Right.
Penn and Premium Pete. And it had been going for a while. And it had a good episode with, I think, Action Bronson was the guest, and that was like its highest rated
Ding
episode.
dong. Your name was brought up. It's only right. We got A King in the building.
No. Let him stay outside. Close the door.
Why? You said his name.
Close the door.
He's here.
Close the door. I don't want A King in here.
Why?
Go ahead.
All right. So now we got 1 studio, 2 shows. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I made a call where I was like, I think Fan Bros is the one who should get the studio. And I came to you in Dallas and I said, listen, we got a studio crunch. I'm trying to figure it out. Right now, I'm going to let Fan Bros get the studio. I want to buy you guys equipment and have you record out of somebody's apartment until I can figure out another studio.
It's the real.
And look, that's the call that I made.
I just want to be really honest with you.
Yeah.
How come you?
I don't ever remember that
You got
conversation.
selective memory.
No, hold on.
How come you chose Fan Bros over them?
At the time, I felt it had more momentum, truthfully.
Fan Bros.
Yeah.
Okay.
It had just started, and I thought it had more momentum, and I was upfront about it. I was like, that's the choice I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
He still offered to give you equipment.
Here's the equipment.
Hello?
Not optimal. Not what you wanted to hear. I understand
I'm going
that.
to explain to you what happened.
Yeah.
They came to us and said no one's allowed to tape in the studio anymore at Premiere. That's all they said. No one was allowed to tape. We're taping the Combat Jack show, and all of a sudden, me and Dallas turn our head, and we see Ben Hameen walking by after he's done taping. Honestly, we looked at them like, what the fuck? And you remember that night? I don't know if you remember. We were real. I was like, that shit took my heart out, man. I was like,
because he felt like he was the reason why Ben Amin was even on. So for Ben Amin,
I don't feel like that.
Overriding.
No. I just felt like that Sneaker Fiends. The thing is, look, a Combat Jack didn't get Jordans till he was 50. What the fuck would he know about sneakers? Chris is a good dude, but he don't know anything about sneakers. He didn't know the momentum we were building. If you ask him, he told me before, say it again, and no disrespect to the Fan Bros, he feels that, if he had to go back, he said you would have maybe.
I probably would have stuck with Sneaker Fiends.
Yeah.
But that's the decision I made.
Yeah.
Right, living your life.
So you could have chose to take my equipment and keep recording until I found another studio. And I would say that I had a track record of proving that I could make shit happen. It might take a week. It might take 2 weeks. It might take 3 weeks. But if you're passionate about this show, you deal with the cards you've been dealt and you keep it moving.
Well,
You chose not to go that route.
That's because
No.
I was
Let me
told to
finish.
go on Skype.
Hold on, let him
Let me
finish.
Let me
Read.
finish.
Go ahead.
You chose not to do that route.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you getting upset and telling me, if you don't want us, we'll take it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man.
people don't like that type of ultimatum.
You told us that we had to go on Skype. We weren't trying to get no bathroom type.
Hey, man. I'm dealing with this. That's the cards I was dealing with at the time. That's the cards that were dealt to you. You can deal with it how you want to deal with it. It's X amount of years later.
No, I know.
You got your own podcast now. You want to still cry about what happened?
I'm not crying. I mean, look how me and Dallas feel.
Okay.
You don't think that was some? We just felt like. I mean, look, I'm keeping it real. I mean, I'm here to praise you. I'm here to go through your journey, but I'm also here to keep it real.
Yeah.
I think it's
me and Dallas.
Like I said, this is the beginning of his healing process. Like,
No, I don't.
No, don't do that. You do have some pent up things that you do need to deal with, and this is the right person to start with. And he's giving you clarity. He's being 100% honest, and you're doing the same thing. This is going to be a wonderful movement and a shift in your energy. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I don't have no really pent up.
You do a little
feelings
bit.
for
Like
Chris.
at the end of the day,
Obviously,
like,
you do, Pete, because we've had this discussion 5 times.
No,
10
but-
times.
probably 7.
But
you know how y'all said the Tyreses are.
But yeah,
But what?
You mean about
But what?
Sneaker Fiends?
Yeah, but what?
What do you mean?
We've been
About
through
everything.
this.
Yeah, but
There was no hidden agenda. There was no.
Yeah, but the way you're saying it didn't happen like that. That's what I'm
That's
trying
absolutely
to say.
how it happened.
No, you basically said no one's allowed to tape no more. We'll tape on Skype.
Pete. Now, okay, now hold on a second, Pete.
Yeah.
You're very much in your head. Now put yourself in my head, my situation for a second. I'm employed at a company.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm risking my job
Yeah.
by bringing you into this company.
Yeah.
And I think you would admit that not everybody approached that situation like, hey, This dude is risking his
We
situation.
weren't told that, though. When I did find that out,
No,
I
no,
did
no,
tell
no,
you
no.
that.
That
but
was
we weren't.
always
We
clear.
weren't. No,
All right.
I didn't
Let
know
me finish.
that.
Let me
go ahead.
finish. So look at it from my perspective. I got all these guys coming up here all the time. I'm not making a dime off it either. In fact, I'm risking everything to make this happen. And I'm able to walk this tightrope for months where I got 3 shows running out of here. And I got sometimes 15, 20 people up in the middle of Midtown Manhattan, right?
Yep.
In this studio that no one's supposed to be there. And there are cameras everywhere. And if anything goes left, I'm going the next day. But that's the choice I've made, and I'm cool with it. And if something happens where that for whatever reason, one of those studios is no longer available to us suddenly, and I say to you, this is the choice I got to make. I need you. I'm going to buy the equipment, okay? I'm going to give you the equipment. I need you to tape from somewhere else. If you interpret that as, well, he's shitting on us, he don't respect us, he doesn't see what we built, I can't control that. To me, that's a pretty good deal. You chose to interpret it the way you chose to interpret it. I believed in sneaker fiends. I might not know shit about sneakers. I might be too old, but I believe in you. No. Let me finish.
Yeah. Good.
I believe in Dallas. I always have. So yeah, we're going to try to make this work.
But you know that me and Dallas have felt a way about that. That's why we never came back.
Okay, I can't change the reality. It's not like there was a studio that was sitting there empty, and I was like, "Oh, good, we got Pete and Dallas
true,
out
I
of
understand.
there."
But you also, but also, we were a little reckless, and what I mean by that, and I know that got you mad, and it was easy for you to make that decision. The reason why I say that for is I remember times you used to come into the studio and say it's time to cut because we had to go tape the Combat Jack show, and then we would keep you going and waiting, and then you would get upset at that.
Yeah, I would get upset. Look,
one time we locked the door, we said, and then he was banging
but
up the
okay,
window.
so imagine that. Here I am.
Right.
I got these guys up in my workplace. I got a wife and kids. This is my workplace. And I'm letting them use the state-of-the-art studios with the best engineer in the city. And they're locking the door on me.
Right.
But when I say,
no, it
hey,
wasn't on you. It was somebody. It was.
But still, it's
they were
his
sending
space.
somebody.
It's
I forgot who it was.
workspace.
So, hey, if you guys didn't like it, I'm sorry, but...
Yeah, but
even going through that, what kept you motivated? Like, how come you didn't just say, fuck it, like, I'm good, like, I don't need to do this?
What I just told Pete. At the end of the day, Pete can feel however you feel. I think you got talent. I think Dallas has talent. I know Dallas has talent. Reggie has talent. Fury and Crystal and, I saw the talent. And part of running a network and making shit happen is when there's problems with the talent, when people get frustrated, when people feel a certain way, when people see it from their perspective, oh, you're doing this for this person, but you're not doing it for me. Part of being able to successfully run or manage a situation like that is to check your ego and say, all right, let me talk to Pete.
Right.
Let me see what I can do. Let me talk to Dallas. I might not still tell you what you want to hear, but I don't fucking start slamming the doors and say, well, fuck that. I'm out of here. This is over. You suck it up. That's part of what it takes.
How did you connect with Kid Fury and Crystal from the read?
So Jazz, we mentioned it, Jazz Fly and NY Delight had a podcast called Reality Check, which, for all the drama we're talking about Pete and Sneaker Fiends, it was 10 times it with that.
I heard that show was fake. I'm not even going to lie. I heard that show was just made up so that she can get on that gossip game show on VH1.
No, it wasn't fake.
Okay.
They didn't click.
Okay.
They didn't click. And there was a lot of drama with that, but it wasn't fake. I mean, they were both real and they both wanted it to work. It just didn't click. But anyway, Jazz had Fury on as a guest for one of the episodes. And at that time, because they weren't clicking, they used to pull me out of the Combat Jack studio and ask me to come in and sit in on.
Like a mediator.
Right.
Yeah, not a mediator, but just like another person in the room to kind of.
Right, like a buffer.
And they would have Just Blaze come in at the end, and he would do something. So they had me in the room, and I was on mic, and they brought in Fury, and I was, I just remember thinking, hey, man, this kid, there's something, he's got it. I don't know what it is, but he's got it. And it kind of just stuck in my mind. And then, I approached him. I was like, do you want to do a podcast? He didn't know what a podcast was.
Well, he was already popping on YouTube.
He had a thing, but I didn't know about that when he came on. Yeah. But he definitely, people knew him through his series. He would do these vignettes on YouTube. So, I mean, I think he had that advantage of coming in with, like, a lot of people already fucked with him.
Right.
Yeah.
And he already had Crystal, like, was she on the videos?
No, I mean, so initially I was a big fan of Fresholina, crunktastical.com. Yes. And I had this idea where I was like, all right, I want to pair Fury up with a woman, and I really love Fresh. So I was like, I'd love to pair you up with this woman, and maybe you guys would hit it off. And he was like, well, actually, I have a friend, and we just have really good conversations, and I'd love to try it with her first. And in my mind, I was like, this isn't really going to work, but let's try it, see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, then we'll go the Fresh angle, and, like, bang, like, they had it.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, but it also took a minute. I mean, obviously it became popular, but it took a minute to get to, I mean, the status that it is today. I mean,
it wasn't the like juggernaut that it is today, but I mean, even today, like tomorrow we're going to launch. I don't know when this airs, but like tomorrow we're going to launch Envy's new podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like,
what is that called?
The Casey Crew. It's him and his wife Gia.
So it's on LSN.
It is.
Look at that, another one.
God
damn, I should have got 1% of the company, man. Damn it.
Yeah, Pete.
Fuck.
But anyway, I don't know what that's going to do, right? Like, you just don't know. So with the read, like when it dropped, I didn't really have any expectations. I just wanted people to like it. Like, I just wanted people to connect with it. That was my hope. And let me tell you, like, that first, like, 5 hours was, like, it was like a scene from one of these movies where they're watching, like, the fucking stock thing just keep go high, like, 5,000, 10,000,
yeah,
50. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this hit. And then it, it had, like, growth spurts. It would get a little bigger, and then maybe a plateau, and then but it's kept growing.
And the fan base has grown so much. I mean, obviously, we could even take it to talk about the first time they did a live show. I know me and you were talking one time. I remember you saying that fucking people were screaming and going crazy.
No, I mean, specifically, I remember someone sending me a video from a show they did in Houston.
Okay.
Before Fury came out, and like just when they saw him coming out, all you could hear was screams. And I remember listening to it, and I told my wife, I was like, those aren't the screams you hear for a podcast.
Right, it's like
that's
Michael Jackson.
The Beatles, like Michael Jackson. I was like, this shit is, something happened. Like, those aren't podcasts. I don't know what a podcast scream is, but like that was Rockstar scream.
One thing before that I thought of a while ago, and it's obviously it's a good time to bring it up. It's funny to me because before the network really like took off, and it was like multiple shows, I always wondered that if the read would leave y'all. I don't know why I felt that. I just felt like, they would get so big that they're like, you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like that. Did you ever, not saying that you ever think that they would leave you, but, that relationship progressed to a time where they believe in you?
I mean, evidently.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't put words in their mouth, but, like, we've had a successful relationship, and I feel really good about, my relationship with them personally and, where the show's at and where it's going. So, it's worked,
And why do you think it's so big?
I think it's so big because of Crystal and Fury.
But why? Why, people listening that, want to be the next read or want to be, their own type of podcast, that's on a level of that, why is their podcast so big? Why are people going crazy? I mean, I even watch, when they go on tour, and these people go fucking crazy when they come.
Well, I mean, I think it's a combination of several factors. I mean, I think the first is they've been very honest with their audience from day one.
About who they are?
About who they are, about what they're going through at that point in their life, about what they're thinking. And they haven't worried about, like, what the ramifications will be of what they say. Like, they really just put their shit out there. And, like, I think, to me, like, that's the most important aspect of any podcast. Like, whoever's out, like, even right now, like, we can argue about, what about this happened during LSN and Combat Jackson, all that stuff. That's what podcasting is supposed to be.
What do you mean? What would you say?
I mean, the conversation we just had.
It's like uncut, unfiltered.
Like, this is
about
real,
arguing
like,
about
it could be an argument. It could be.
We weren't arguing.
But what
it was a disagreement.
Yeah, it was a disagreement. But what I'm saying is, to me, that's the essence of good podcasting. Like,
real, raw.
It's raw.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. Real, raw, unfiltered. Like, if people want to listen to sanitized versions of the situation, that's what the radio's for.
Yeah.
There's no need to listen to a podcast to hear a sanitized version of something. It's got to be authentic. So right off the bat, they were very authentic. They remain very authentic. I think the other thing that really, I mean, they're also both just very funny, engaging, entertaining people, which seems like an obvious thing to say, but like that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, I think they came around at a point where nobody was really making content for people who kind of shared like a similar POV with them. Mm-hmm. And I think like for their audience, it was such a breath of fresh air. Just like podcasting had been seen as this like very white kind of hipster for men.
Yeah.
And like this shit just came out of left field and spoke directly to people.
Sure. And they related to it.
So like,
it's like people, you know, it's funny when we went down to A3C and all the different events we get, people actually feel like they know you.
They feel like they know you. I mean, so those are the big picture things. The other aspects of it, which I don't, you know, has kind of been a thing that I don't think other people notice as much, especially other podcasters and even other podcasts that I work with, is they're very disciplined. Mm-hmm. Every single one of their episodes follows a pattern. Every one of their episodes has very set segments. The segments are in the same place every week.
Now, do they do that themselves?
Yeah.
Okay, because, you know, it's funny because in this day and age, people will put titles on things. You know, like what I mean by that is like, you know, Jonathan Mena is a very talented kid.
Right.
I love him. But
right.
when he says producer to Combat Jack ain't listening to nobody. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know if that's true, but...
Well, okay. When you say Tax...
Tax might not listen to anybody.
Okay. But the point I'm trying to make is there's very few controlling, say, producers. Some people let other people tell them what to do, or some people do what they do.
Right.
So obviously you're saying they do what they do and follow their pattern. You know what I mean?
No, they have a very specific vision of what they want to do, and they follow that every week. And I think that's important. And if you're a podcaster out there, I would say, like, look, let's be real. Like, there was a time where there just weren't as many podcasts and everybody could just, turn on the mics and talk their shit.
Sure.
And it was cool. You can't really get away with that anymore. I mean, like, I can't tell you how many emails I get every week from people who are like, yo, I got this podcast. It's kind of like a barbershop talk thing.
Sure.
Like, we're going to talk about stuff that's happening. And I'm just like, that's cool. Look, when we started this shit, the thing I told people was you should do a podcast because you want to do a podcast, not because you think it's going to make you money, not because you think it's going to make you famous. You should do it because you just really want to get your shit out there.
Exactly.
That remains true in 2016.
Exactly.
Any one of those people who sends me an email saying, like, hey, if that's really what you want to do and you feel passionate about it, that's exactly what you should do. However, if you do want to try to take it to the next level, you're going to have to fine-tune it.
And what do you mean fine-tune it? Explain that. Break that down for people.
I mean, what I always tell people is, I was like, imagine you're at a party and someone comes up to you and says, what are you doing right now? And you say, oh, I'm working on a podcast. And then they say, well, what's it about? What's your reply? Well, it's kind of like we talk about shit that's happening in the news, or, we talk about like, that's not, you want to be able to, you want to have a high concept. You want to have something, even if it's bizarre or seemingly out there, you want to have a concept that's going to make people pay attention and notice and say, oh, this feels different than everything else that's out there right now. I forget the name of it, but there's a successful podcast out right now. What's the name? I forget. But anyway, like,
it's clearly not on LSN.
It's not on LSN.
You got that memory.
Right. But so basically, and I'm kind of probably half making this up, but like basically the concept is the guy takes calls from people he doesn't know who they are, and it's and they can talk and they can't say who they are, and it's like a competition. How long can he talk to them without them hanging up?
Oh.
Right?
I like that.
It's weird. It's different, but it's unique.
Well, and keep in mind, and
it's a hit.
Where I can imagine. But keep in mind, in a world today of so many different podcasts, you have to stand out.
You got to stand out.
You have to be different. You have to be unique.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you went right into that because we'll go to a break real soon. But I want you to exactly, for the people that want to know, like, hey, because look, people have hit me up and like, yo,
right.
Pete, I know you you think you could speak to Chris about getting me on LSN? Who the fuck? I didn't know you had a podcast. What the fuck do you want from me?
Right.
So the point I'm trying to make is if these people are hitting me up, then I can only imagine how many people are hitting you up.
Oh, no, and I feel like an asshole because I don't get back to a lot of people. And the truth...
Douchebag, you.
It is. And, like, for a long time, I was the person hitting somebody else up trying to get on.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, this asshole never got back. He didn't even fucking reply to the email.
And now
you're
you
the asshole.
And now I'm that asshole. And I can't because, like, I literally can't keep up with it. And what can I tell everybody?
Why don't you at least have, like a general... quick response, like the automatic response.
Yeah, but
where it's thank you for your interest.
Yeah, you might be right.
We're not getting back to you.
I know I'm
douchebag.
right. I know I'm right, Mr. Morrow, because that's what Lissa do. So you need automatic, so they at least feel like, okay, he's gonna get back to me. And then if you curve them, at least.
But I'm not gonna get back to them.
Automatic, systematic.
So listen, anyone who sent me an email, I apologize. I was an asshole.
He's too busy.
If I had less shit on my plate, I would take the time to reply to everybody. But like my
so
thing
you might be passing up someone that's like dope though. Like how does a great person?
No. That's real. Like I always think about the story where they say like Big Sean just rolled on Kanye outside of a radio station. Like there's a Big Sean that I didn't reply to.
Yeah.
And that's I won't say scary, but like.
Well, then you know what?
For the people,
for all the people that are listening that have podcasts, and there's so many out there now. This is what I want for them. I want you to tell them what it would take to get on LSN, and also at the same time, what makes a great podcast to you.
I think what makes a great podcast is creating that connection, no matter what it's about. I think there's a podcast for everybody out there. I think no matter what you're into, no matter what kind of captivates you or excites you, someone out there is talking about it specifically in a way that you want to, hear it. And you don't know. Like, I'm really into this podcast called Hardcore History. And each episode is 5 hours long.
Oh,
God
you
damn.
got time.
And
You sure you ain't got time to answer
time
emails?
today, cuz.
I do it when I do my shift at the Park Slope Food Co-op. Brr. So, no, but seriously, like they did like a 7-part series on the Mongol Empire, and like every second was like incredible, right? You might not be into that, but there's someone out there who's like, yo, I really want to listen to this podcast about the Mongol Empire. So, for loudspeakers, like we're a business now. Yeah, like I'm looking for podcasts that are going to make money. But here's where the shift is happening though. It used to be like the mentality was, well, in order for a podcast to make money, it has to have a certain amount of listens.
Sure.
Right? And that number has always changed. I mean, there was a time where it was like 25,000 an episode was like a big show.
Yeah, downloads.
Now that's like, all right, 25,000, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and there's shows that are doing 300,000, 600,000. However, the flip side is we brought up Fan Bros before.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Which is still around, and shouts to them.
Fan Bros.
I do
and
love them.
they're mad at me too. But like, Fan Bros
Why
is.
they mad at you?
I mean, for the same reasons. I mean, I gave them the shot, and then after a while, like, I pulled back a little bit,
Right.
So
Do they still tape in the studio, or they tape at home?
they tape here.
Okay.
And I still support the show, which is coming into what I was bringing up. Like, so Fan Bros doesn't do the same numbers as our bigger shows.
Yes.
But we developed a relationship with a company called Loot Crate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with
I heard
Loot
of it.
Crate. I wasn't. They basically, every month they send you a box and has very geeky shit in it. Movies, references, TV shows.
Condoms.
I don't know about condoms,
Okay,
but
my
all
bad,
that sort of
sorry.
stuff.
Geeks ain't having sex.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So it's lotion in there,
No lotion.
and magazines.
Anyway, it's geeky shit. And Fan Bros is a geeky show. So here's the perfect storm, right? A geek box for a geek show.
Yeah.
They've sold a lot of these things.
Nice.
Okay? More than some of the larger shows.
Right.
Because, okay, hold on a second. Now we're talking to their specific audience. So I think there is a future for smaller shows that can find their niche where it's like, we know exactly who you're talking to. We know exactly who your audience is. And, hey, here's this. Not every product's going to work.
Right.
Not every product's going to work for that show. But that also comes back to what I was saying about having a high concept. Because if you're just like, hey, this is just kind of like a show where we keep it real and we like, an advertiser's not going to be able to look at that and say, oh, I got just the just the thing. But if you're like, oh, this is the Premium Pete Show, and every week we talk about the best in fly fishing, like maybe only X amount of people listen every week.
But at least
there's a fishing rod company out there that's like,
right.
Oh, hold on, he's got a fly fishing show.
I got you, Mr. Morrow, because this is the Premium Pete Show where we know about sneakers and weaves. Yeah. So hit us up.
Well, and you know what, Chris, and we spoke about this too, and Lissa, this is something for you to also understand, and the internet and the rest of the world. A lot of advertisers haven't even tapped into podcasting yet. I feel like some of them are going to be very late. Like I feel like a lot of companies are afraid they want to be a follower instead of a leader. That's why I love what Bevel has done.
Right.
I mean, because they've been messing with you guys for a long time. I mean, they even mess with me, and I, being very honest with you, for them to commit to something that may have not worked for them. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know it was going to work.
The reality is it did work.
No, it did. It did. No, but it may have not worked for them.
Right. It was a risk.
It was a risk.
It was a risk. And they're still here.
Well, they're not only still here. I mean, it's a wildly successful company.
Of course.
Now, you could say part of the reason they're wildly successful.
Because loudspeakers was a big...
Well, I wasn't even going to say that. I was just going to be like, because they understand the value in taking those risks.
Yeah.
Is your signature fade from the bevel blade?
No,
he's got the Flowbee.
Okay, he needs the clippers. He's still using scissors. I have a question because you guys are pioneers in this whole podcasting thing, and you have all these new people coming in, like a Nori. So Nori's like allegedly he's starting his own like network.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, God bless him. Good luck.
Well, what about...
You don't feel there's no like podcast beef when it comes to networks?
Nah, listen, I've never... I mean, there is podcast beef.
Right, let's talk about it.
I've never subscribed to it or tried to be part of it. I mean, I think anyone can tell you, like, from the moment, like, these other shows or networks or whatever have you, like, started to emerge, people will come to me like, hey, how do you feel about me going on this show? Or how do you feel like... Or even me coming here tonight, like, it's all good, like...
Did you have to clear this with Combat?
I did.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Why?
Because it's politics.
It's a respect thing.
You. Yeah. Why?
It's a respect
thing. They was in that room without you, bruh.
Yeah, that's right. They're being
That's
sneaky
why.
motherfuckers. But
they slithery.
But anyway, look.
I mean, look. When do I call tax and say don't do Nori's podcast? Like, do I call?
But do you feel like you should, like? Do you feel something?
No, because the reality. Like, I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. And the fact is, the energy of podcasting, maybe not in the hip-hop podcasting space, but the overall energy of podcasting was always one of, like, collaboration. We're all in this together. A rising tide lifts all boats or whatever. Like, that's always been the mentality. So I've always subscribed to that. And then the other part of it is, like, I think it's short-sighted to, like, draw these little lines in the map and say, well, you're not loudspeakers, or, you're this. Or, like, this is still a very small community.
Sure.
We're all going to end up having to work together, to collaborate, to be part of it.
Somehow, some way.
So why... That's
the world we live in. Competition, people love... Here's the thing. Obviously, LSN has definitely... first of all, I already gave you a congrats. I also,
right.
You know me. I congratulate you, and then I call you a douchebag same time.
Right.
It's the love-hate thing.
Right.
But I did say, you did great work. There's tons of fucking great podcasts that are on the Loudspeakers Network and continue to grow. But what do you think about CBS? I didn't even know CBS had their own podcasting with Rat Radar.
I mean, I think the CBS thing, I won't say it's worrisome to me, and this isn't like a shot against Nori or Elliot and those guys, but like, we're still like a little engine that could. Like, as much as anyone else, we built this shit out of literally nothing.
Yeah.
Like, we literally built this out of sneaking into studios in the middle of the night. Taking risks and hustling and all that shit. And like, now when CBS is like, oh, that's hot, we're going to start a podcast network, to me, that changes the playing field slightly.
Yeah.
And it might change the playing field in a better way, or it might change it for worse, but it's going to change it, And my concern isn't so much like, we're fine. Like, we've established who we are, and like, all we got to do is just keep doing what we're doing. What I'm concerned about is the ability that I had 4 years ago to say, okay, Fury, I kind of know who you are. I don't know who Crystal is, your friend. Fuck it, I'm giving you a podcast, right? Or Dallas and Pete, let's do the sneaker podcast, or whoever it was. You're going to lose that the more the CBSs are involved.
Sure.
It's going to become, who's the next celebrity can we give a show to?
Sure. It becomes corporate.
It becomes corporate, and it's going to lose that authentic voice. So I think that's the challenge, which is, it's inevitable that a CBS is going to come in, or Spotify starting their own podcast now, right? Yeah. Like, that's inevitable, and I think it speaks to the work that we've done, and like we've made it. Like, you got to remember, these corporations are like fucking battleships in the ocean, right? Sure. Like, they're not sailboats. A sailboat can turn on a dime if they see something's happening. For a battleship to turn in the ocean, it takes them a long time. Like, oh, podcasting is really happening. So the fact that they're reacting to it means we've done something right. The flip side is, how do we collectively keep it authentic? I mean, and look, Nori obviously does a very authentic show. Would
you have put Nori on Drink Champs on LSN if you had a chance?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Rap Radar?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Why you though?
Why? No, that's all right.
I'm trying to say how much I want to say there, but yeah.
What happened with Desus and Mero? I know you were chasing them like a motherfucker. Man.
I chased them.
They said the money wasn't right.
They said you got to come with the bigger envelope.
Well, I mean, I would have loved to have had that opportunity. They didn't really give me that opportunity.
Oh, you would have gave them more money?
Yeah, probably. Look, I've said it before. Like, I think those guys are fucking geniuses. Like. I know it became a thing, like, all right, we're going to clown Chris because he was chasing these guys, but, like, there's no shame in that. Like,
I'm playing with you.
No, but I'm saying, like, there's no shame in that.
What happened with the Red Light Special podcast?
He didn't want to do it anymore.
Markman?
Yeah.
No.
He wasn't getting the good money?
I think, no, I don't want to say he didn't want to do it. I think what happened
You guys are projecting some of your...
Why are you putting words in the Podfather's mouth?
You guys are projecting some of your own insecurities onto me right now. I got to be honest.
Whoa. We can't I asked a question. I don't know about no insecurities.
Well, I'm just saying, he didn't get any good money. Why was it about money?
I asked a question. Why you acting like this Podfather? That's making me feel like
Chris spoke to combat. He's coming here with his guns loaded.
Well, he got nervous because all I did was ask the question. I said, was it the money? He was like, you insecure.
No, well, that was the third. Was it the money in a row? No,
that was my
Rob
first.
Had a lot of stuff on his plate.
That was,
to answer the question.
Because I'm going with the rumors. The rumors is the money don't be
no,
right.
No,
you get $28.
No, that was me.
Said
that was me in Dallas.
I'm just going with what Pete said, and I'm just, bringing it back with the conversation.
Yes.
Yo, listen,
I'm not accusing anybody of anything.
Listen, imagine that conversation with him and Reggie. Listen, do me a favor. Chris, write the fucking kid Pete a $28 check. Write Dallas a $28 check. And give A King $18. And Chris will say, you sure you want to do this? Don't worry about it.
How did you feel about the issue that happened with Combat and Pete? Because it feels like you and Pete, even though,
he was there for me, though.
Pete, that's what you're going to do?
You're
not going to let the man speak? You're not going to... Damn, just forget it.
No, get it.
No, but how did you feel with everything that transpired between those two? Like, because you watched the growth, you watched the beginning, and then the end.
I mean, I was upset that it played out the way that it did. I'm not going to lie. I have respect for Reggie. I have respect for Pete. I think they did good stuff together. I'm sorry that it ended. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations with Pete where I've encouraged him to get to the spot where he's at right now, which is like, hey, if this shit isn't working, do your own thing. So, like, I'm happy for Pete that you're doing your own thing.
No, thank you.
Do you think that there's ever going to be a place where they could be cool again?
I hope so.
I see it, Peter. It's going to happen.
I mean, look, my thing is this,
Don't
man.
give me $28. I'll be cool with him again. Okay, I'm playing. I'm just playing, Chris.
I mean, look, sometimes things don't work out. That's not just true in podcasting. Like, that's true in everything. And if you feel like it didn't work out for a certain reason, you're free to feel that way. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's fine to feel that way. But, like, and I've said this to you in private, and I'll say it in public, like, just don't carry the baggage.
Yeah.
Just like it happens.
Yeah, no, and you know what? It actually, sadly at that time, but happily at this time, it was a good thing to happen. Because it gave me a chance to do me and to to meet new people and do new things and bring people on. And I mean, all these kids in the room and Lissa, it would have never been, and it just feels so much better.
Right, but you got to let it go.
No, I am letting it go.
Well,
slowly but surely.
But you know what? Hold up.
Slowly but surely.
We're going to go right into another thing right now. Because I give you shit, but I also big you up. And I have changed that over the years, meaning bigging you up more. Even when you were going to bring on Tax, I'll never forget this. And it's amazing to see this kid's fucking growth.
Right.
I'm so happy, my fellow felon. But the thing is this. You were going to bring him on, and I don't know why I got mad at you, except to say that if you bring him on, because I felt like Combat was like, he's like one of those guys where if something happens, he wants to run. And I put you in that category that day.
You did.
And I was, and you proved me wrong later on, but I'm explaining. And I was like, yo, listen, I said, if you bring this kid on, I didn't even know who the fuck he was. I said, if you bring him on, I just knew that he was he came home and he's, went away. And I just wanted a chance for somebody to not, I just thought that he had something maybe dope to bring. And I was like, if he fucks up, don't run from him.
Well, that's not what you said.
Well, okay, go ahead. What I said.
What you said?
He came in like he shot out of a fucking cannon, and he's like,
well, that's me, but good.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting there, and you're like, you're going to bring this Tax guy on, and, he's going to do some shit, and you're going to run from him, and that's not street. And that's corny, Chris. That's fucking corny, right? So here's my thing. I'm not a street guy.
Yeah.
My dad is a street guy.
Yeah.
And my dad always told me, when a street guy tries to explain what's street and what's not street to you, he's trying to punk you.
Yeah.
Don't let him punk you.
Yeah.
So I said, in my mind, Pete's walking in here for no reason. Nothing had happened.
Yeah, no.
He's just trying to fucking punk me for no reason. So that's why I stood up and I was like,
what
the fuck?
He said, what's your problem? And then Combat was like, stop this! I come here every week to let my frustrations out. What are you doing?
But I mean, that was...
No, but you know what? Into this later on, look what happened with Tax. Tax had a couple of run-ins, especially with Ebro and all them, and you guys stuck by him, and he didn't leave his side. And I'm proud of you, and you're a man of your word.
All right, well, I respect that. I appreciate that. I mean, look, and nothing had happened that would have made you have to say what you said, but I give you credit. You cut to the chase.
Yeah.
You saw what conceivably could happen, and you were like,
don't be pussy.
But my whole shit was like, don't call me pussy.
Right.
But I'm dead serious,
right.
And I know I wasn't trying to punk you. I guess I was just trying to get my point across, and maybe it didn't come off the right way. But but that's another thing. I mean, look, did you ever imagine how big this fucking kid would become in the sense of that he scratched a new lane?
He sees the talent in people. He sees.
No, of course, obviously, I admitted that.
Right.
I admitted that.
So he saw it.
I mean, he's seen me. Okay, I'm playing around.
I mean, look, I can't, there's no one that I can sit down and say, like, this is the path they're going to follow. I just go off of instinct. I'm like, Tax is a captivating character. He's captivating on the mic. He's captivating in the green room, in person. Like, he's someone you want to listen to talk.
He's a Leo.
I don't know if that's a characteristic of a Leo, but like...
It is.
Okay. So I'm just saying, like, he's one of those guys. Now, a lot of things have had to break right. Some things have broken, wrong, but like...
Sure. But you stuck through it.
And he stuck to it.
And he did.
He stuck to it, too. Like, he gets the credit. I mean, he, like...
And it's tough. It's tough to deal with, when you've been away and then you got to deal with, even though this is not corporate, some of the stuff is kind of corporate-y. Like, meaning like having to, listen to other people explain different stuff and what he should not do. And he stuck through all that, too.
He stuck through it. And, like, truthfully, some people had to talk to me about that, because there were moments where I get frustrated and be like, this guy isn't listening. Because I saw it for Tax very clearly from close to day one, and I kept seeing him putting himself in situations where I was like, why are you doing this? Like, just sidestep all this shit. Like, just get straight to the finish line because I can already see where it is. And, some people, close to him had to pull me aside and be like, you don't understand. Like, this is, I won't say old hat to you, but like, this is new to him.
Yeah.
And you got to work with him. You got to really understand, like, all this is new to him. You can see it. He's trying to process all this shit at the same time. Who the hell is this Chris Morrow guy?
Yeah.
What the fuck is a podcast? can I trust?
Exactly, exactly. Can I trust? Yeah.
There's a lot to process. So I think we've had our bumps, but I mean, we respect each other, and it's happening, and the credit goes to him.
And it's good to see that, and it's also good to see. I mean, we'll actually take a break, and we'll start to finish up and go over some more. But it's good to see when you really think about it. The whole Breakfast Club has a fucking podcast now.
Yeah.
You fucking sick bastard.
What?
No, it's a good thing. It's amazing when you really think about it. It's Angela Yee has lip service.
Yep.
Charlemagne has Brilliant Idiots with Angela Schultz. We'll get to when we come back from the break.
Yep.
And now DJ Envy and his wife have the
Casey Crew.
The Casey Crew.
Yeah.
The Podfather's here. Chris Morrow. We're arguing with each other. We're showing love to each other. He's throwing shots. Listen, I'm throwing shots. I don't know what the fuck is going on. He even asked Combat to come here.
This is like a Combat Jack Show heyday flashback right now.
We almost had A King in the building, but you got nervous.
Internets, listen, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. The Premium Pete Show with Miss Lissa. Cheer.
Ow.
Internets, you already know this episode is brought to you by Bevel, but we want to give you your first month free on your Bevel membership. GetBevel.com/Pete. Visit that site. Check it out. Everything's on there. Like I said, all the glorious stuff that is going to help you shave like a fucking boss.
And you can enjoy one-on-one consultations and loyal perks. Request blades whenever you need them.
Yo, that's one thing I will say. And if you don't know, trust me, if you get involved with Bevel, you will know their customer service is top-notch.
So get Bevel. Stop playing around. Don't go to Dwayne Reed and grab that little cheap razor or try to get the Michelette or whoever else is on the market. Don't mess with them. Get Bevel. Get smoother, clearer skin in 4 weeks.
Again, that's getbevel.com/Pete. Head on over there for your first month free on your Bevel membership. Now let's get to the show. Cheer. Internets, we're back. Chris Morrow, Miss Lissa.
Al.
The Premium Pete Show. First of all, I didn't even thank you for welcome to
what
the
Premium
Pete
Pete
Show.
for? Thank you.
No, for coming,
Al, you came?
Pause.
All over Pete. Before we go into, because I know you want to talk about the Brilliant Idiots, I had a question about the whole thing with Tax and Ebro, because it is true, you do have the entire Breakfast Club on LSN, and you guys are making major moves, and someone like Ebro may be threatened. Do you feel like he kind of like eggs Tax on, or kind of tries to set him up so he can like knock him down?
I mean, I think he probably did at some point, but I mean, I can't knock him. I mean, I can't say what his motivation is, but like, it is a very competitive field. I mean, my take on it has always been like that competitiveness. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. People are going to be competitive no matter what it is, whether we're chefs, whether we're making, but as it pertains to podcasting, my whole thing is like, I saw what happened with the magazine wars. Mm-hmm. Right. I've seen the terrestrial radio wars up front. Like, I just don't have any interest in building a version of that in podcasting. I think it like gives you short-term gains, but it doesn't really help anybody in the long run. And like, just as a person, like, I'm just not into it. Like, I listen to podcasts to get some enjoyment. I listen to podcasts to learn some information, to get turned on to some shit I didn't know about. Like, I'm not into it because to me, like, the beef shit is red meat. Like, people want that, and they'll start to feed off of it. But then every week you got to throw them more red meat, and then what ends up happening? Shit gets out of control. It gets personal. It gets this. It gets that. So, like, for me, it's always been like a little bit of a tightrope, because on one hand, one of the things that's really like motivated me and been kind of like my ethos in loudspeakers is like, I'm not trying to dictate what people say. Like, I really want to give people a platform to get their shit out there, however they see it. And if they want to use that platform to beef,
so be it.
Well, I don't want to say so.
Beef it.
So like so beef it. So I've always like tried to walk this line where I'm not telling you what to say, but I'm also trying to discourage the beef. I mean, the beef is really the part of it that I've always just not. But I also understand that, like, for some people that is who they are, or they feel more passionately. People aren't coming after me for the most part. I mean, before tonight, so it's like, You caught that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's easy for me to sit back and say, hey, man, don't react to that. That's bullshit. You don't have to worry about that. No one's really putting me out there like that.
But
so,
even before you started doing Loudspeaker, with you producing the Breakfast Club syndicated show,
yeah.
did you have an issue with Ebro? Because he was always on Shot 97.
No, I got no issue with Ebro. I mean, I met Ebro once. I was on a book tour with Russel Simmons. We just done a book, and we went up to Beats One. And I wasn't even going to say anything because I'm just some random dude up there. He doesn't know me. And Russell was like, yo, you know my man Chris? You know my man Chris? Like, he's the guy who does all the podcasts, you know? And I was like, Russell, you know, and then like, I was like, nah, you don't know me. He's like, no, you don't know this guy? He's the guy who does all the podcasts. And then Ebro was like looking at me, and then I was like, yeah, Chris Morrow. And I was like, I do loudspeakers with those guys. And he was like, oh yeah, a lot of people over there don't like me. But it was cool.
Right. It was
like, and then we're grown men.
Yeah.
So
I got kids.
How come with that mutual respect or whatever it is, how come some of your talent isn't on Beats One?
Some of our talent is on Beats One.
Crystal's
on Beat One.
Oh, okay, talent.
Shoom, who has done a lot of our audio
Shout out
work.
to Shoom.
She's on Beats One.
Okay.
But this all comes back to what I said before. Like, you got to really be on an isolated island if you think that like you're going to be in this world and not have to like.
Right.
Now look, some people have real beef. Some people really don't like each other. Some people really feel a certain way. I mean, that's their prerogative. Like, I can't tell someone not to feel a way about. But me personally, Chris Morrow, hey, do what you got to do. I'm never going to tell somebody don't go on his show or don't go over there or don't do that. Like, it's not, it's
but
not
as far as like the commitment with the shows, as far as like the read, obviously that's with the podcast itself. Like, everything else is on their own, right? Like, meaning other people. I mean, if they do live shows or any other things they do, right? Their commitment, and with Ellison, their commitment is with the show, with the podcast, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's different from show to show, but like we're involved in all of it.
Yeah. So different percentages and different,
He always do that money talk.
No. I'm not asking for. I just, meaning like if they do. You're not getting. Ellison's not getting a cut from the live show, right? That's their own money they can make. No.
They get a cut because if it wasn't for that network, they're gonna get a percentage of.
Well, how much?
They're helping with the promotion of it. They're housing the show. There's no way they're not gonna get something from your live show. That's like Matthew Knowles not getting a piece of Beyonce.
Everything is on a case by. We work all this shit out. It's fine. Okay. Everything's working smoothly.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yo, you are perfectly media trained. Yeah, like, you are the one.
Now, let me ask you something. Before we even moved to the Brilliant Idiots, we didn't even... how did you even meet Tax? How did that even happen? I don't remember. How did it even come to you?
Fury told me about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said, I think this guy's really funny. You should check him out.
Okay.
He should, he could have a podcast.
Because Fury and Tax have the same manager.
Correct.
Check this movement for a second. Jazz Fly brings on Kid Fury.
Jazz Fly flipped them mints out your hand back in PNC. They put you all the way in your place, but we're going to act like that didn't happen. Continue.
Yeah, one day we'll bring her on.
Okay.
Jazz Fly brings on Kid Fury to her podcast. Chris and Reggie approach Kid Fury. They do the read. Kid Fury tells them about Tax. Where does the friend zone come in?
Those are Tax, the Reed's friends.
Reed's friends.
Yep.
Look at this, one big fucking family. And then the Breakfast Club? Okay, let's get to Brilliant Idiots. What did you approach Charlemagne, or, because I
had a relationship with Charlemagne, and I was, trying to convince him to do a podcast. And, I think he was on the fence for a while, and then he kind of came around to the idea, and there was someone else we were going to talk to, and it didn't really work out. And then, he's like, there's this comedian, Andrew Schultz, and I just like talking to him on the phone. Like, I just think he's an interesting guy. Like, we have good conversations on the phone. So I went and I checked Andrew out at a club where it was a podcast. He was taping a live podcast somewhere. I forget where. And I hung around. I talked to him afterwards, and he was like, I saw he was funny. And I was like, would you be down to give this a shot? We don't know what it's really going to do or, what the reaction's going to be, but, like, you're down to do a shot. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we tried it, and the rest is history.
You know, with Andrew, it's funny because, like I say, like he's very talented. I do. He's also no filter, and I know I see the internets come at him sometimes, and the internets love him. You know, that's the way it goes. But I'll tell you one thing: the thing that I really, really, it's amazing what podcast has done for Andrew Schultz. Imagine being a comedian, right? Think about it. And being on a platform and growing a platform where you're able to push everything you do. Like we had him on an episode. I don't even remember in the beginning.
4.
But if you think about it, man, you know, it's a great outlet for somebody who would ever thought that where the show would grow where it is. But that outlet is beautiful for him at his main job that he does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Meaning being a comedian.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's really turned into like a very important part of his life and what he's doing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it's amazing. I mean, even what about like today? Like Brilliant Idiots. What's the word with Brilliant Idiots today?
They're doing great.
Do live shows.
They're doing live shows. I'll send you a detailed accounting list of all their income because I know that's very.
And he gonna also need their writer, like what they need
I'll send
when
you
they
all
show up. Like
all the pertinent information.
we need to compare and contrast.
Now you're gonna make me go there again. Did you send Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz a $28 check?
I mean, it's not
Hell
inconceivable.
no.
Okay. No, but no. It's basically Friend Zone. Let's go to next.
Yeah.
Why we going? Wait, okay. I like the Friend Zone. Shout out to them. I was just in the lobby, just feeling all the great energy. I think that it's amazing that their show was built off of them just coming to the read and just like the rapport that they built with the internets that listened to the read gave them their own show, right?
What do you mean?
People listening, the Reed, Kid Fury, and Crystal bringing their friends on and having their dialect and their great conversations is what turned into the Friend Zone podcast.
They're doing great. Yeah, I think what was really important with their situation was, I think if there was any skepticism around them, it was like, oh, well, this is just going to, be another version of the Reed. And like they were really focused from day one to carve out their own lane and like really make it.
And they have.
And it's their show. But they were aware of that. They were like, no, like we want to focus on something that's very positive and specific.
Right.
And kind of has its own vision. And that kind of gets back to what I talked about before.
When about a month ago, they were in the lobby. They usually tape the same day we tape.
Yeah.
And I think they came. I forgot. I think maybe Hey Fran said hello.
Why you gotta call her by her Twitter name?
Well, that's what we do in 2016. Right. But she came over to me, and I told them a quick story. Don't worry, I didn't say nothing bad about you. I said it's funny to see your guys' success because I think somebody came over and was like, "Oh my God, can I take a picture with you guys?"
Right.
And I was like, because I remember sitting in a studio while people called in and gave. Names for the network.
Yeah.
And I brought that and I said, so it's amazing to think of that day and to see, somebody, they're looking at me probably like, who the fuck is this kid? You know what I mean?
Who is this?
Right.
But to see where they were, it just felt, I was proud to see that.
I'm glad.
I was proud to see that.
What's next for you?
What's next for me?
And LSN.
All of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to launch a couple more shows.
Well, you did one with HBO now.
Yeah, we have a new show with HBO and Insecure, which is called Insecurity, and it's actually Fran from the Friend Zone and Crystal. And that's doing really well. I mean, we're doing a lot more branded shows right now.
That's what HBO
The Colorful Lives, you did something with State Farm.
We did Colorful Lives with State Farm. We also have a new show with Avion Tequila. Called Rich Friend, which is Mark Trammell, who's one of the music editors at The New Yorker, and Mark Anthony Green, who's the style guy at GQ. And that's a show that we just launched. So, we got a couple more things coming.
Any reality TV?
Well, no, Insecurity is not really reality TV. Not anything.
What type of show are you looking for?
I'm looking for...
Because the internets are going to be fucking...
right. If you're going to... try to get at me about something, I'm looking for high concept shows. I'm looking for scripted shows specifically.
What about a porno podcast? Would you ever think about that? Like an old porno star maybe?
I think someone's doing something like that. No?
Really?
Yeah.
You're looking for a scripted podcast, or are you going into production of like motion pictures or television
No,
shows?
no. We're still focused on podcasting. Like,
Okay.
I'm not, I think some people get ahead of themselves and are like, and now we're going to launch this music label. No,
Right.
like, we're focused on podcasts. But yeah, I am looking at, and we have a couple things we're going to be releasing soon in that vein, but like actual scripted, I mean, the one area I think we could stand to improve is just in terms of like the production that goes into the actual shows. So what I'm really looking to do is to create some shows that just have a higher production value. Maybe it's scripted, maybe it's not scripted, but it's just kind of like a fuller
A cleaner
audio.
run a show. Like,
Not even,
everything's more
clean, but also
Well,
like,
audio's got to be good too. Internet's that you
No,
know.
I just mean as far as like segments and being just like that type of thing. Just knowing
That-
more of an overall outlook of the show. Like me and Pete sometimes just sit down and it is what it is. Like
Right.
you want more of a outline.
I want an outline, I want segments, I want production value in terms of the actual audio. And I don't just mean like sound quality, I mean hearing 3 different tracks going on at the same time. But I'm open to, I'm willing to take chances on stuff, but it has to be unique. It has to be, it can't be.
Sure, it has to be different.
It has to be different. And, that's because A, that's what I want to hear, and B, like that's just the reality of where the landscape is right now.
And I will say this, internets, I think that people, email and then maybe they don't get no response back. And I'm only talking about Chris just in general. And I think that people start to get discouraged. I'm not going to even mention someone's name, but I remember speaking with Chris and like this person had sent an email about some tickets and stuff like that. And I forgot the way he approached it, but he was like sometimes if you come off like, I think you got to stand out, and that's what I'm. Like some people don't stand out enough. Like some people are afraid to. Like they send an email and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to make a mark. Got to make yourself notice. I'll give you an example. Somebody emailed me and Bun about some food type show.
Right.
The way they emailed us was like, Bun B and Premium Pete. This is fucking amazing. I just Googled and found you guys had a fucking website. Exactly.
Right.
Fucking?
Yeah, no, a fucking website.
Not
he
a
said,
fucking website.
He said Bun fucking B and Premium Pete. So I just listened to Premium Pete's podcast. It's amazing. He started saying, Bun, I've been listening to you for years. I work at this company. All they do is produce white shows. I want to do a show with you. But what I'm saying is when I read this to Bun, he was like, let's call this guy. Meanwhile, we could have thought, like, who the fuck is this guy?
You don't know.
Like
I mean,
this?
you can't write it like you're writing to a college
don't want
professor,
that.
but, I think that's what it is like, the best thing you can do is whoever, I'm not just talking about getting at me or Bun or whoever the case may be, like, really know who you're trying to get in touch with.
Yeah.
Like, if someone writes, like if someone wrote something to me and it said burr in it,
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right,
That's pretty funny.
they fuck with us. Like, they get the inside joke, like,
Sure.
I might give that a little extra look over than just something that's a little more generic.
Yeah. No, I think that's important. I think that's important for, you know what, let's go to the I Don't Trust People segment.
Well, you got to let him know.
Well, I'm going to let Chris know.
Yeah.
Before we started the show, I would always tweet, and I still tweet, who I don't trust and what I don't trust.
Yeah.
So, internets, you know how to get involved. Use the hashtag I Don't Trust PPL. Let us know who you don't trust, what you don't trust. Fill up that hashtag, and, you could be featured on the next show. Who do we got this week?
Our first submission comes from Tigarachi. I don't trust people that don't give up their seats to pregnant women or elderly on the train/bus.
I agree.
I do, too.
That's a shame. Let me tell you something. When I used to travel a train, if I saw a pregnant woman or anybody, if I seen a girl with nice breasts, I would just get up and let her sit down. That's just what I would do. No, I mean,
So you can look at her boobs.
No.
You want to see her New York boobs.
No, I don't want to do that. But
staring.
a pregnant woman that stands up, to me, that's a disrespectful thing.
Yo, people ain't shit. Like, I have to give my seat up to women more than the men.
Yeah.
And then I ain't shit. I'm rude. So I'm like, your mother must be disgraced. Like, I've said that to at least 3 people in my whole life. Like, I go to the men, like, listen, how dare you not give this seat up?
Even elderly.
Not the elderlies.
Yeah, even the elderly.
Even the damn elderly. How you not going to give your seat up to an elderly woman?
Yeah.
Like, that's disgraceful. Maybe the elderly man, because he probably didn't give his seat up in his younger heyday.
Yeah.
But the women,
woman,
come
Do
on.
that. Shout out to all the old age homes.
Our next one comes from D Wills 619. I don't trust people when you say, can I get a number 5? They say, combo? No, just a drink, dumbass. Right.
Where's this from? McDonald's?
No, that's anytime you try to order something like that, dude, that pisses me off too. Like, you're like, yo, can I get number 2? The meal? No, bitch. The fries.
Ooh.
Like, what the fuck?
Listen,
That's true.
She's serious about her food.
I am, because I'm
Morrow.
greedy. I'm greedy. That's just how I am. What about you? You don't never like that? You eating gourmet. You don't never order no numbers. Don't worry about that. Our next one comes from Cass4QL. Random Premium Pete. I don't trust people with dirty microwaves.
Oh, listen, you gotta.
I mean, you ain't cooking.
You gotta use the Brillo pad and scrub the top of the microwave, the side of the microwave. Internets, listen, I don't trust people with dirty microwaves.
Our next one is a microwave person, too. So this is FJ Sanchez 617. I don't trust people who cook bacon in the microwave. I didn't even know you could do that. That sounds disgusting. That sounds disgusting. How does it get crispy?
How dare you do that to that beautiful pork? And internets, don't bacon shame me. Do not bacon shame me. Bacon is beautiful, but cook it in the oven. 2016, motherfucker.
Chris, you gotta think of one. This one is from me. I don't trust people with pictures of people they don't know. Like, I was at my friend's house, and I was like, oh, like, who's this? Is this your cousin? And she's like, I don't know. And then we were like going through a photo album. I'm like, oh, is this who's that? And then asking questions. She's just like, I don't know. And it's like, why the fuck do you have pictures of people you don't know? Like, is this the picture that came with the frame? Like, what's going on? I don't trust that.
Yeah, well, I agree. I mean, especially people who just take... The thing is, if you meet somebody and you take a picture with them, I don't like people who write my boy or my homie.
Or he's fucking with the movement.
Yeah,
Somebody always fucking with the movement. I'm definitely about to put a picture of me and Chris, and I'm like, I'm out here with the Podfather. He's fucking with the movement. Like, ain't you fucking with the movement? Yes.
Chris, who or what you don't trust?
People who don't pick up after their dog.
How dare them? Pick up your shit. I agree, because you know what? Then, from being a sneaker lover, I got to walk around, God forbid I step in shit.
That means that you going to get some money.
No, I've stepped in shit plenty of times. I never got no money. Trust me.
I stepped in shit in front of Dallas Penn 2 days ago, and
you know you got that money.
He told me, it's all right, man. Those were just beaters. Which
Shout out to Dallas Penn.
And
listen,
I thought they were still all right. But
Dallas Penn is back at work. Yeah. Send him your prayers, but make sure he's still good. Let him keep his feet, keep his hands, keep everything.
How come you didn't give Dallas and his wife a podcast? They already doing one.
Yeah, they're doing one.
So how come they not on LSN? Didn't ask.
Dallas wants to do his own thing.
Okay.
These don't worry. These ain't premeditated questions.
They're not. That was just a real free question.
But you know what I do before we end this? Well, first of all, let me say I think that there was a lot of great content on here. People could get a lot of information. People could get a lot of just jewels and gems about their podcast, because there are so many out here today.
Right.
And just to rise of yourself, and then also of how much you inputted into the game. So I do appreciate you for that, and I do commend you and congratulate you for all that success. I do, and I think that you have done a lot, and you are behind the scenes a lot. That's why I wanted to have you on, because you're not really on a lot. You're always behind the scenes a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that people should see that. And I do, honestly, I really do thank you. When I did go through the stuff with Combat, we spoke on the phone and in person a lot, and you didn't bullshit me. You basically you agreed, and then you also propelled me to think forward. You know what I mean? While instead of sticking in the moment. But I do want to say also this, and we'll end on this, and then your last note. A lot of people probably ask, like, why isn't Pete on LSN? And I said something before, and the reason why is, I told you, obviously, Chris, but when everything went down with me in Combat, I didn't feel to even, when everything went down with me in Combat, I'll never forget, he told me, oh, yeah, well, me and Chris spoke, and, you could have your own show. And I was like, what? I wasn't even thinking of having my own show. So the point that I'm making is when I felt certain things for him, I didn't want to be on the network, one, because I would have to build the show, which I'm doing, and it takes time. Like, what am I going to, it takes time to build the show.
I feel like your pride is the only thing that kept you from
Chris,
not being on LSN. Other than that, I feel like Chris and you have a certain rapport, even though you don't always see eye to eye, there's a mutual respect. And I feel like the only thing that's keeping you from that is you.
No. Do you remember our talk?
Remember that talk?
That we had when I told you why I didn't want to be on, and I said multiple times I'm not being disrespectful of what I'm saying, why I don't want to be on?
Yeah, sure.
No, do you really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, because people ask, like the internets have asked, like, why aren't you on there? Like,
Am I right in what I'm saying, Mr. Morrow? That it's him? Because I feel like even when we first dropped the episodes, like, I mean, we didn't even know, but it was on the LSN, like, YouTube and
but Chris took
like
that down quick.
even Combat like reposted it. I feel like they were supportive in your transition, and I feel like, and I'm just telling you this because I care about you, and like I said before, I feel like this is an opening of a door for you to mend your relationships. Sometimes it's you, and it's like you need to just put your pride aside, because he wouldn't be here if you didn't care. There's something in you that needs closure, and that's why Chris is even here right now.
I don't have a problem with Chris.
Man, listen. Okay.
I don't have a problem with Chris.
I don't think you have a problem, but there's like underlining issues that were never communicated or fixed.
I don't have a problem with Chris.
There's no problem. It's just a communication.
What I just said, let me tell you something. Our relationship has propelled, not decreased. You know, you wouldn't say that over the years. It's gotten way better than it ever was, you know?
Hey, Pete, man, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Wait. What happened? Wait.
I feel like I've been who I am since day one. You go up, you go down. You go up, you go down. I respect you. I support you. However you feel in that given moment.
Yeah, no. I
don't know what to tell you.
I'm just explaining.
Okay.
Chris is really being very premium Pete-ish tonight. Very no filter.
And this is why if nothing else, I fell in love with you today. Like, because I've only seen you in passing, and then the other day you did Bless Her with some clothes, and I was like, Al, he's popping. But to actually have a conversation with you is like, you know, it opened a lot to the eyes, and I hope that you guys can, because you can say what you want. There is some issues that need to be fixed. And like he's saying, he's feeling like he's been consistent and you fluctuate, because I feel like there's times where you have moments of, you know what, I do want to fix it. And then you have like prideful moments where you like full of you, like full of Pete.
Here's the thing. First of all, Chris, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
But I will say this in the ending. I have no problem with Chris. If I would tell him right fucking here.
Do.
The problem the only thing I'm bringing up about not being on LSN, I told him, is the reason why I said I didn't want to be on there was only because I felt like if someone kicks you in the fucking ass, not meaning Chris, someone kicks you in the ass and then you come back and say, hey man, can I get you something to drink? Nah, I wasn't doing that. I just felt like let me leave it alone, and I'm happy where I am, and I'm thankful for Scotty and Engine Room to give me a chance to see what it could be, you know. And you know, I mean, that's it. And, you know, I mean, as far as, like, closure, maybe that's needed with Combat, but that's time to come. You know, things, you know, it is what it is. You spend a lot of time with somebody. I mean, look, you have Chris, you have a partnership with Combat. If things didn't go well, you know, you may feel a certain way, right?
Sure.
No?
Yeah, that's true in every situation.
So, but anyway, you know.
But at some point you move on from it.
I have moved
Well, it doesn't
on.
sound like it.
Well, because here's the thing. You know why?
Why?
Because people ask me all the time if I'm cool with them, and he tells them, "Yeah, that's my family. We're cool. We're not fucking family." So I don't like the fake.
Favor.
I don't like the
Do me a
fake.
favor.
Y'all family. I keep telling you that. You got cousins. You got stepbrothers. You have brothers. You guys are family. You're just not the position that you thought you were. It's like there's still a love there. There's still a care there. There's still something there. And if you would allow it to open, it would happen.
Go ahead, Chris. What do you want to say?
Look, I don't have any interest in talk. I mean, you got issues with Reggie. Reggie has issues with you. Instead of talking to me about it.
No, I'm not talking with you.
No,
You
let me
just-
finish.
yeah.
Let me finish. Have him on your show.
Mm-hmm.
Go on his show.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have it out on air. It'll all...
Are you going to mediate?
No, I don't want anything to do with it.
You said at one time you would mediate. Didn't you?
He changed his mind.
Yeah,
after coming
maybe
in
I
today.
changed my... That's pretty much...
Oh, yeah? After I fucking invite... First of all, I said a lot of nice things about you today.
You did.
I said a lot of nice things about you.
You did.
You wouldn't mediate?
I mean...
Actually, I don't need you to mediate.
You guys don't want me mediating.
I got someone to mediate. But
you don't need a fucking mediator, man. You guys.
They need a mediator.
Listen,
just talk.
Need a buffer.
Chris Morrow, continued success.
Thank you.
Build the LSN empire to the next level. So, we're a podcast. If one podcast wins or two podcasts win, there's room for everybody.
There you go.
And continue.
A rising tide lifts all boats. That's hello. Take that with you guys.
See you next episode.
Al.
Cheer.